Hello and welcome back, fans, to more esports on NECC _ esports. I am Coach Jim here with Jacob Van Ryn, and tonight, Overwatch Finals. We're going to have multiple matches for you. The first one, though, a bit of a change. Due to a withdrawal from Alabama Huntsville, the first match will be Arcadia versus North Alabama. And we're going to jump right into it. Jacob, it's going to be an interesting match. 22 hours ago is when we found out what this match was going to be. And so everybody's coming into it blind.
It'll be fun. And kudos to Arcadia. We love this type of it. They're excited about the opportunity. North Alabama, obviously excited to advance to the championship and play for a title. And it should be a good one.
All right, Jacob. Last night, Valor Finals, 12-hour cast. We were in our chairs for quite a while. I believe 4 matches tonight. How long do you think we're going to be here this evening?
I don't know, but we're going to have fun. It feels like we never left. All good. It's going to be a great night. We got 4 thrillers. We got this one. Then we got Boise State taking on UC Santa Cruz in the title match there. We can guarantee that Boise will be on a little earlier tonight, so that's good for them. We got CSU DH following up, looking to become our first 2-time champion this semester. They'll take on Northern Essex Community College. They're the defending champions, and that'll be a good one. And that should be a thriller. That's a 1v2. And then we cap it off with Fresno State versus Carroll. We got a lot of heavy hitter showdown. Jim, this is the only game of the 4 that doesn't feature the 1 seed versus the 2 seed. So we got some heavyweight showdowns tonight, and I think we're going to see a lot of good action.
You know, in match number 2, what is it with Boise going against schools from the California school system? Let me tell you, every time you turn around, that's all Boise State's going after.
I'll say this. Boise's had some bad luck in our championships. They get one tonight. That's my prediction. Their Overwatch team is playing as well as anyone in the country right now. I think they get one. That's going to be a thrill. This first one's going to be a good one. Stick around because we've got 4 great matchups tonight. 4 titles. Going to be a thrilling evening.
All right, we've got Neely and we've got Yellcrab. They're ready to go. As soon as our producer tells me they're good to go, we're going to send it over for match number 1. Jacob, who do you like in this first one, though? Who do you like?
I'll say this. I think that Arcadia is going to make the most of this opportunity. Is it enough to win? I don't know, but I think they're going to play really well. I'll say that North Alabama wins, but I think it's going to be a better match than many people think, quite frankly. Jim, I also got to say, more importantly, the vest tonight, 2 thumbs up. Looks great, my friend. Love you running it back. I love this is your new thing. I love the vest look. I love this life.
Tell us in chat if you like the vest. Tell us in chat if you like the vest. Mr. Producer, are we good to go? Okay, so we're close. He said we're close. We have to vamp a little bit extra. And just because we like to have fun with Twitch chat, Twitch, I was worried about the tie. So, you know, give me a shout out if you like the tie, don't like the tie, better or worse than last night. Me personally, North Alabama versus Arcadia. I don't know. I think, like you said, I think this is going to be a good one. North Alabama, you know, they think this one is theirs. They got something to prove here. They were looking at Huntsville, and now they're going against Arcadia. We were looking for an all Alabama showdown, and now it's going to be a little something different. But I think Arcadia, you know, second life here. They got the respawn. They're coming back at it. So
and I think that for them, they think that they've gotten a little bit of a second life, like you talked about. And now they're going to take advantage of it, right? It's a little bit like you're playing with house money. Whatever happens. Nobody picks you to win. Sometimes that's the easiest role to play in any type of competitive event. I think they're going to take advantage. They've been really good. They've had a lot of success across a lot of our titles. We'll actually see a number of their players tomorrow night in the Hearthstone Championship, where they have another chance to win a title there. But tonight, their Overwatch team has a chance to win. And, you know, this is going to be a great evening. No doubt about it.
Oh, it's going to be fun the entire way. Mr. Caleb, how much longer do I have to sit here and talk about nothing? All right. All right. I can't repeat anything of what a producer just said. Swears like a sailor, that man. So much for Canadians being the nicest people on the globe. Jacob, we're looking forward. Match number 2, Boise State versus UC Santa Cruz. You said later in the night, though, somewhere we've got one of our own competing, our own Caroline Shaw competing somewhere later this evening. Why don't you kind of preview that matchup for us?
Yeah, that's the 1 versus 2. That's CSUDH versus Northern Essex. And, even though Northern Essex is the 2 seed, they're the defending champions. So that's a little bit of an interesting thing there. They're looking to defend their title. It's exciting for Caroline. It's also exciting for CSUDH, the chance for them to become our first 2-time champion in a semester, this semester. And obviously, they won a Valorant title last night. Kudos to them on defending their Valorant championship. And that should be a good one. But we got 4 coming, and the first one's coming your way very shortly, Jim.
And with that, our producer has let me know we're going to send you in Neely and Yellcrab ready for you. Match number 1 coming at you right now.
What is going on, chat? Kicking off the NECC Spring Final Stream Series. Tonight we got 4 of them. Tomorrow we have 1 more, but it's going to be University of North Alabama versus Arcadia to start things off. I'm Yellcrab. Casting with me is my good friend Neely for this one. Neely, this is Emergence Division. What can the viewers expect to see with this level of Overwatch?
Well, like a lot of levels of Overwatch these days, Yelk, a lot of brawl. It seems to be kind of in the meta, even though the meta was thought to maybe be changed last week. It didn't really end up changing, and I know at this level of Overwatch, usually the meta doesn't change as quickly. Sometimes, our Gladiators divisions will start to experiment more with it, but when they don't tend to experiment, right down the line, it kind of everything falls. It starts with Overwatch League, goes right down to just in ranked, and Brawl's still pretty good, May's still pretty good, Reaper's good, Kree's good, so I'd imagine we'd be seeing a lot of that. I know we've got a couple of Kree players on both teams, so I'd imagine we'd see a lot of just rush down with a May Kree.
Yeah, and in this lobby in particular, this is the 2 seed and the 4 seed, so some upsets had to happen for these teams to get here. There's no number 1 seed in the mix in the finals, in the Emergence. That's kind of what you like to see, a very close level of competition in the playoffs. But in this lobby in particular, the carry players, the players I would be looking out for the most are definitely those tank players. Front lines are very crucial in this division because, let's just be honest, a lot of fights face one way for the most part. Sometimes a team has a nutty DPS player that likes to get creative on the flanks. These 2 teams are just kind of here because they've played their game consistently and they've just been better than the other teams to this point. Not a lot of wild cards in this game, but keep an eye on those tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this game, we've got the 2 and the 4 seed facing off. University of North Alabama is your 2 seed, so no 1 seeds showing up tonight, Yelk. They weren't quite able to make it, and that just speaks more to the 2 seed definitely being one of the stronger teams. So North Alabama looking to prove that they were one all along here.
Yeah, and I mean, they did deserve to be here. I got the chance to cast 3 of their games in the regular season. And speaking of the regular season, the only time these 2 teams faced off before University of North Alabama did win 3-0. This, of course, tonight is a best of 7 being the finals. We're going to go Control, Hybrid, Assault, Escort, Control again for map 5, and then Hybrid, Escort, and then if at any point there was a tie, we're going to Control for a map 8 and a crazy best of 7. That is kind of what you could expect to see tonight because a 2 and a 4 seed, there's no real clear favorite here.
Yeah, let's just see all the Control maps here tonight, Yelk. Why not? I like all the Control maps. Li Jiang's probably my least favorite, so I'd like to see some more.
Speaking of Li Jiang, getting things started here on Control Center, we've got Arcadia University kind of lollygagging. Kojo found his way off the map somehow, and University of North Alabama, in a very strange opening to this game, is just going to sit on the point and likely take it first as Arcadia sets up deeper in the server room, maybe takes the high ground, maybe just goes all the way around back. It seems like that's what they're opting for. The first take does come in, so even though that was a very weird start, not a lot of time was wasted in the relativity of things, but now the main tanks are starting to get together here. Nato and Kojo, 2 great main tank names clashing on the point, and Kojo takes way too much damage going down first. The rest of their team falls, and this is not the start you wanted to see from Arcadia University.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange rotation. Kinda just strange. I don't really know what to say much about it, but one thing that I can say is they're running the May and the Doomfist, so not a lot of frontline damage, while we're going to be going into a Reaper McCree, which is really good at dealing with this Doomfist pick. And you're not going to have a McCree of your own to deal with the Reaper, so this is kind of a weird matchup on Control Center.
Yeah, they have to make sure that Thimble on North Alabama doesn't get loose. That Reaper, if he's just going uncontested, can wreak a havoc on pretty much everyone on this Arcadia side. We're currently brawling up in this high ground server. Shatter comes through, shield's not there. Everyone is laid down on the side of Arcadia. Mortality Field comes in late, but still the damage is there through it. It's not enough. 6 kills in quick fashion for North Alabama. Never mind, Crusher 99 might be able to escape. No, Ironcrad there for it.
Great track down at the end. You want to get every single kill you can, and getting the Lucio on the end is nice because he gets out rather quickly, but a bit of an overinvestment from Alabama here. They do invest both tank ultimates, maybe didn't need them. Either way, they're still going to have High Noon and Window to try to push back Arcadia, but they're going to have a Shatter this time. No Shatter online for NATO, and Kojo wants a little revenge right now, Yelk.
Yeah, Kojo's looking mean on this rotation. Team's moving a little bit faster this time, but Latrick goes down in their back line. However, they do contest the ground on the point. They Window. Everyone's powered up on the side of Arcadia, but the High Noon has to be countered by something. Immortality Field only saves so much. Pluto goes down. And once again, it looks like the rest of the team starts to fall. Kojo did land in a big shatter in the midst of all of that, but it just was not enough, as you saw. 4 members of University of North Alabama left standing to clean up that fight. 1-0 their side to start things here on Lijiang.
You know, I don't think that's going to be the tail of the tape of this game here tonight. That looked a bit decisive, but speaking of being decisive, Arcadia was not very decisive to start off that round, and it kind of just seemed like they kept getting caught out in rotation. Maybe once they get a little bit warmed up here, sometimes you just come out a little flat. Maybe this isn't your map. Who really knows? But once you kind of get those Overwatch legs under you, it is, you know, our finals game here, Yelk. Maybe a bit of nerves going on, so either way, I think as both these teams start playing, maybe get a little bit loose, this Arcadia team starts to show up a little bit more. Because I don't think this game is going to be that decisive. It just shouldn't be on paper the way I look at it. Sims on both, or no, just one side here.
Yeah, Arcadia winning the race to the point. They're going to set up those sim turrets now. Latrick on that pick. And just to what you're saying, it should indeed be a close one. Like we said, there's no #1 seed in this game. Arcadia has played fantastic to get this deep in the tournament, and this is the biggest game of the season. There's not going to be one after this for either side. It is win or go home, winner take all. And here on Lijiang Gardens, we've got the pharmacy set up. Ironcrad just taking his time. NATO getting in close with Kojo, swings him down, and now Ironcrad is loose on the point, trying to take down this Lucio off the walls, but Crusher 99 pretty evasive for some time before finally falling to a direct hit. And I love this combo. Ironcrad on the Pharah, Squib on the Wrecking Ball. Neely, we know a lot about this combo. Tell the viewers a little bit about how it works.
Basically, Wrecking Ball is going to go in there, try to slam some hit scan, or just cause general, you know, disturbance in the enemy team. And when everyone tries to deal with the Wrecking Ball, the Pharah can just lay rockets into those big slams and those boops, kind of displacing the team. I love this style of comp because it's kind of a half dive, half brawl we're seeing here, Yelk. And I don't know, it's just like a weird combo, but you got the pharmacy, you got the ball, but then you've got the Kree and the Rhine. Bit of a weird setup here, but a huge barrage coming off from Ironcrad.
Out of 5-4, gets the mech as well, hits the McCree with the direct hit, and Kojo can't get away. A little bit of celebratory action, falling into gravity, but Ironcrad with a clean team kill.
Yeah, Ironcrad gonna find absolutely everybody, and he's gonna switch off, which is a bit surprising to see this swap to Ash. Ash is good on this map, a lot of open space in the courtyard, but Ball's gonna get stunned up here, Yelk.
And he almost falls off the map as well in that little freeze animation. The fire strike through the Baptiste window is going to find Latrick, and Thatchman will not make his way to point either. It seems like this Arcadia University is having an awfully tough time getting to the point here on Gardens. Oh, that's a very good boot by Crusher to take care of NATO, but it's definitely not going to be enough.
It isn't going to be enough. Oh, Tiger also going to take a bit of a similar tour. Maybe fell later because, you know, the Guardian Angel keeps you floating longer. Maybe try to get someone to come help her out, but no one's going to be able to help the Mercy right there. But maybe a quick rotation in from Arcadia to maybe take this point quickly.
I like how they're going in fast. This is what you have to do against North Alabama. You can't take your time. That's what this composition is designed to do well against. The Shatter comes in and lands on 5, but Pluto is there with the Blizzard. Bomb coming in as well. That's gonna find nothing because Kojo already found it with the Fire Strike. Pretty nice headshot there with the icicle from Pluto to finish off this fight, and they will get the flip, but they have expended every ultimate they had, and Latrick is the only one close.
Yeah, they have expended a lot of ults, and High Noon isn't usually the one that you call upon. Thatchman should be able to get his window very quickly here, but Squib is going to be able to cover up this point with the Wrecking Ball ultimate, maybe break some shields a bit, and throw a Bobbin, maybe a High Noon of their own, and Alabama might be able to sweep this one away.
High Noon coming in early, but it's canceled by the headshot from the damage dealer of North Alabama. And now they move into point. Bananarama, probably the fourth player in this game to fall. The Gravity Squib places that Wrecking Ball mine behind the mix, so they can't retreat once they start to. That 2K comes through, and the flip will certainly come through here for North Alabama, and they seem bound to take Li Jiang.
They do seem bound to take Li Jiang, but nothing's over till we say it's over. Wrecking Ball trying to make his way back, potentially. And I mean, Reinhardt gonna lay the shatter down, but it's only futile.
Squib doing a ton of work, getting the boot kill on the Thatchman as well to cap off that 3K. Diva does get back in the nick of time, but Proton is not going to last long in that mech. Baby Diva, of course, falling equally as fast, and overtime seems to be ticking down, but with a final touch is Latrick, and just like that, University of North Alabama jump out ahead 1-0. Very convincing on Li Jiang, but like you said, Control can often be a warm-up map for a lot of teams.
Yeah, it can be a warm-up map. It doesn't always decide what team is better. I've seen some teams take it decisively, and then the next two maps go the other way, but a huge shatter. We're going to get to see it one more time here from NATO. He looked overwhelmingly like the better main tank. But again, he's got a great team backing him up, so who knows going into the latter half of this game here, Yelk.
NATO with a huge play. I love how that Reinhardt flew backwards in the stun animation, and then also how that cryo freeze was able to block that pin, because it would have all been over a lot sooner had that cryo freeze not been there.
Absolutely. But either way, we're gonna get to see a map picked by Arcadia and a map banned by Alabama. I think both of these teams should be looking to find a map that doesn't have as many spots to fall off. That seemed to be the crux of both teams here. Maybe some of them were celebratory with the Farah barrage, of course, but a lot of boops were happening. Lots of people just falling off on their own. So we're gonna, maybe a little King's Row at some point throughout this setup here, Burke.
King's Row, man. Third point's dangerous. You got to go Hollywood. Can't be too careful.
Can't be too careful, but anyway, we'll just be waiting for that. What do you think we could see here from Arcadia to kind of switch things up? What could they do to just, put Northern Alabama on their toes?
Well, I think what they have to do first and foremost is start turning around a little bit on their rotations, make sure nothing is left too vulnerable in that backline, because it seemed like, especially when Ironcrad was playing that Farah, that he could come in kind of uncontested. They had a McCree, but it was never really turning around and shooting the right thing, doing damage up front, of course, but still the most important thing is keeping Ironcrad kind of tame on those flanks. He was getting away with way too much. On Ash, it didn't seem like he was having as big of an impact, but still Arcadia just has to make sure their flanks are covered, and they should be doing a lot better against North Alabama. But what about your take? What do you think they could improve in their play?
I mean, well, you said Ironcrad didn't do as much on Ash. I mean, he killed the High Noon, which debatably saved and took Li Jiang by storm right there. So no matter what he was on, he seemed to be doing quite a bit. But I think if Arcadia wants to maybe shake some things up here, maybe they do a Farah of their own. Sometimes you throw a Farah into some of these teams, maybe it's hard to handle, maybe they're not used to seeing it, it's a different look entirely. But if that's not quite your thing, you don't have that Farah player, I don't like the Doomfist Mei look nearly as much. You don't have any poke other than from the Mei. Mei doesn't do a whole lot of damage. And if you do want to run the Doomfist, I would run the McCree by his side. And if you're going to run the Mei, I would also run the McCree by his side. And they did end up doing that, and they were able to take a little bit more percentage. But again, something else that I keyed into after the first control point was both of these teams are going to be jittery that this is the finals, and maybe it showed up a little bit more for Arcadia. Did they lose somebody to the edge of the map right at the very beginning?
Yeah, they lost Kojo right at the start on Control Center. I'm not even sure how you fall off at the start of Control Center, man.
Jitters.
You just missed the down ramp out of spawn.
I think it's just jitters. He had too much coffee. Either way, looking like we're going to be rolling right into the next map here.
Getting nervous when he was making his eggs in the morning. Hybrid, like you said, Blizzard World. On this map, Brawl can be a lot less effective, Poke can shine a lot more, but do you think these teams opt for that or keep on playing the fast run-and-gun Brawl that we've seen so far?
Well, Northern Alabama has already showed that they can play Wrecking Ball and they can play Pharah, and those are two decent picks when you're playing into a comp like Dive. So, no matter which way you cut it, I feel like Northern Alabama is going to be potentially more set up for a map like this. Every time I've seen a winning team here in the NECC, it usually goes to the one that is able to swap to dive comps and excel in those dive comps. But then they can also swap to Brawl and do rather decent in the Brawl. So either way, maybe a little Arisa Reinhardt here. I love this combo, actually, coming out from Northern Alabama.
Yeah, things are looking very interesting on the defense. Ironcrad on this May, he is definitely his team's flex hero. Looking at his profile before the game, saw that he played a ton of McCree and haven't seen it from him so far in this one. Seems like he's just the utility guy, right? He'll hop on the Pharah. Sure, I can play that. May, I can put up the walls. It's fine. His team probably relies a lot on his depth as a player to make it so they can play comps like this.
And, you know, sometimes you speak of that depth as a player, you know, and just the willingness from a player. Sometimes these DPS players don't always want to play the teamwork character like May. So getting your most flexible player to be the guy that also plays May is just a huge plus here for North Alabama.
Definitely is. Damage getting dealt by Latrick as he takes a pretty dangerous angle. Kojo not choosing to shield him, just making it so he's risking it. But now, challenging the high ground. I like to see this. Squib up there can provide a shield for his team, and they can do a lot of work. It is tough to break those sightlines. They really occupy everything on the point. Maybe rotation far around to the left or the right and get them in. Or, Neil, you like this a lot, just playing right underneath that high ground as quick as you can. But right now, 4 members of North Alabama are occupying that.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to just push into it because you do just have this Reinhardt of NATO just standing right there, just gatekeeping and the May. So if you do rush in, you are threatened by this May wall. Both teams just kind of jockeying for ultimate charge right now, Yelk. Not really trying to die. They're just trying to play it safe, maybe get an alt fight and take this one swiftly.
Yeah, if I am a coach or a player, I am looking at this strategy from North Alabama, and I'm putting this one in the memory bank for sure. This seems incredibly stable. Really, it seems like you have to go on an insane off route to the left or the right. Ironcrad does fall, though, and that is a window of opportunity for the team to push, but they're going to be going into ultimates from North Alabama as they've had plenty of time to charge them up. The Nano comes first. Shatter gets airborne and blocked. Fire strike through the window. Does some damage, but gets no elims. 180 Shatter from Kojo, balling out like a menace. And he's got to keep his HP and keep on going. Squib does go down eventually, and Arcadia able to break that fortress of a defense that North Alabama was setting up.
As much as Kojo did right there with that 180 Shatter, the pin in to just kind of bust them all up like it's bowling and then just turn around and lay everybody down. Crusher 99 with a massive beat drop to keep him alive. I think he was just like 50 HP away from going down, and Crusher 99 does the job of support to keep him alive and make that entire play possible.
Now the attacking Arcadia getting a little too aggro, forced back down that staircase by Squib, who's sitting on a supercharger, chooses to use it now from the high ground. Dragon Strike from Latrick, thrown in from the off angle. Storm Arrow collects the kill onto Squib. Dragon Strike finds Banana Rim, a fantastic ultimate from Latrick. He's starting to stand out in this game. Can this Baptiste stay alive? No. Unfortunately, that Batchman does go down to Ironcrad.
Ironcrad's just living in their backline. Latrick's going to turn around. He's like, do I have to get everybody? Thimble's going to find Latrick here. Some weird trades going on, but now the defenders are going to be having the closer spawns, so North Alabama kind of looking to be in the driver's seat now after losing that last fight. Either way, couple of ults, Bomb and Blizzard are going to be on the side of Arcadia, and they're going to be looking to use them rather early here to try to just secure the second point. They could be, if they get second point now, they're going to be cruising right through them and proving my point that control just isn't for everybody.
Yeah, this Arcadia team, they're playing very smart. They really haven't lost a fight yet, but there's no action going on right now because they're just taking their time getting to this high ground, taking the positioning they want, and now moving in through the poke phase. Maywall goes up. That's going to deny the high ground for North Alabama, and they start to backstep. Even Bomb going to come in over the top of a dangerous area, finding 2. Bananarama falls to the Storm Arrow from Latrick as well, and this Arcadia team is just boisterous on this attack. They look like a reinvented team. They are coming in waves faster than North Alabama can handle.
Yeah, Arcadia is showing why they're here in the finals. They didn't get the start that they wanted, but they got a map they wanted. They got to pick this one, and they're enjoying it a little bit more so far. Now, if they can just cruise right on through this and get this third point with 2 minutes, now North Alabama's going to be sweating a little bit, maybe blaming it on the jitters for them this round. But either way, Northern Alabama, tons of ultimates online. They are geared up to win this next fight if they play their cards correctly.
Dangerous Maywall coming through, going to block off some of the healing that those North Alabama tanks can get. Now Baptiste windows get traded, but Nato can't get that fire strike off in time as he goes down. Bob sent in onto the point, a very awkward big Omnic Butler, but he goes down very quickly to Latric Storm Arrow. He seemed to have one of those for every instance of threat that's come from the side of North Alabama so far.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing right now, too, is even though Arcadia is going to lose that fight, it seems like they're more willing to engage with ultimates than North Alabama has this whole entire round. They did lose that fight, but Thashman engaged with that window and was able to burst NATO down super quick, almost winning them a fight against 5 ultimates. Not quite able to do it, but now they've charged up 5 ultimates of their own, and they're looking to storm on through with them. Dragon coming out first, Shatter fighting nobody. This is a bit of a tough one right now here.
I like how Kojo's not afraid to just send that ultimate. I mean, if there's anything in front of him, that Reinhardt NATO, he was turned around in that room. That's a fantastic Maywall. That's going to clean up Tiger all by itself. Now Kojo, he's going to step up more. Blizzard coming through as well. They want this room. Big flick shot from Pluto. Sits down Bananarama. And Arcadia University finish off Blizzard World. Oh, wow. It's at the buzzer, if not for a big slam from NATO, but Crusher 99 is there with a PD drop to deny it. Bob comes back onto the point off a very fast cooldown from Ironcrad, but still, Arcadia puts up too much of a fight. It is not going to be enough. Just a Baptiste and a Wrecking Ball. Neely, I think it's all done but the crying at this point for North Alabama.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 dive tanks on the point. Tracer and Lucio are making it back out, and no cleanup is coming through. Genji's coming back on Ironcrad, and now there's trades happening. The defender's spawn is in favor of Northern Alabama, and Ironcrad has found 2 right now on this Genji pick. Shatter coming out, is going to find the Tracer, going to get rid of the Immortality field. Kojo also going to find Bananarama. This fight is too close for me right now. The defender's advantage is still in favor of Northern Alabama.
Good cycle from Fatman, using that window and that Immortality field to just amp up that team, keep 2 members alive. They're able to finally collect more kills, but Ironcrad is back out there, and he is hands down the biggest threat for this team. Able to find Kojo, but not able to stay on the point. And with a minute 24, finally Arcadia takes it. Their attack looked great, but still at that final little stint of the map, North Alabama was able to get a good little hold, take another minute or so off the clock.
Yeah, that Wrecking Ball was getting a lot of value right there for Northern Alabama. Just could not dislaunch it. Yeah.
Of all things. What the heck?
I know. Why? Whose contest character is Genji? Who's like, I want to leave spawn? It's Ironcrad, I guess. I would have expected Doomfist, different kind of diving character, but Ironcrad's going to go for Genji, and he almost makes it happen. Can't even say that it was a bad pick at this point. He comes out, gets 2, and you're like, I think Northern Alabama's about to win this and maybe keep it to a 2-point game right now after Arcadia kind of stormed through this map.
Yeah, Ironcrad definitely playing with no quit in them in this game, and that's what North Alabama's going to need if they wish to extend their lead after this one, because Arcadia University showed that, all right, we played Control, we don't like that game mode, we don't like first map of the long series, and we're wide awake. We're coming to play on Blizzard World, and they showed it. That's a minute 24. That means if North Alabama even caps 3rd points with no time at all, they don't have a win condition, so they did take a lot away from North Alabama in that attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Over a minute is always so important in these hybrid maps. Speaking of so important, that is going to be Latric this round on the defense. He is going to have his work cut out for him because Ironcrad, supposedly, as we would have pointed out, the star DPS for Northern Alabama, and he's going to do what we talked about. Takes far right out of the sky.
Latric has had himself around so far on Blizzard World. Fantastic Hanzo play now on a new hero. a very meta McCree pick coming out from them. And that should be enough to counter Ironclad on this Pharah, who is going to rotate all the way around to point and just force the touch from Arcadia University. Easily escapes the action there, but Latrick going up to this high ground. He's going to need some healing to challenge this bird. Not going to get any. Falls to 25 HP, but Ironclad will eventually land that fatal rocket. Now back and bunkered onto the point is Thimble behind NATO's Rhine Shield. Should be able to hold this down, but challenged by the Lucio in close. Will eventually fall to Crusher 99. But Squib and Ironclad have been busy in the kill feed on the side of North Alabama, and they seem in a good position to take this point and set it up with ultimates to go far on second.
Yeah, Latrick, though, hitting some good shots onto Ironclad, giving him a run for his money, but Tiger is going to be there for the res and just the general pocket onto this Pharah to keep it going all the way. And Latrick is not going to have a pocket of his own. He is not going to have as many resources put into him, and it's going to make it very difficult to deal with this Pharah. Going to need more help from Proton on D.Va to help take this Pharah down.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think another thing Arcadia could probably look to do is be more aggressive once they have these positions. They're very good at taking them at the start of every fight, but I don't think they have the confidence to stay there long. You can see they jump down right there. McCree and Baptiste. Now it's just Latrick up there on the high ground, and he will go down again. Grab, Eaton, Squib wishes he had that one back. And it looks like Arcadia backs up. High Noon gets popped, and it's a zone in one, Neely.
Yeah, just going to kind of keep them back, step right up. They're going to step right back. Either way, not an ult that you care too much to lose. It's a great little ult to push him back. Oh, Ironclad going to take himself out right there. Who knows what happened there? Maybe found a rocket. Kojo with a nice fire strike. This fight is a bit strange here, Yelk. Just kind of some poking and prodding going on.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you do on a payload map sometimes where there is that middle high ground, or Junkertown third point comes to mind with that horseshoe high ground as well. The payload has to move so far, and if you are the defending team setting up, you can offer all of that ground for the attacking team to just have to have somebody on cart push it, and you can see Arcadia that time capitalized by that high ground position and giving them the angle to shoot stuff in the back, because North Alabama was just a little too busy moving the point, and now they find themselves having to go again with 3:40 on the clock.
3:40 on the clock and 5 ults in the bank. Squib, the only one not going to have that ult charged up because it was eaten by Proton, but 5 should be plenty to do it. But Pluto has been rather aggressive with his ults, but speaking of aggressive, here comes Ironclad, going to get taken down by Latrick. Huge play from him.
Shut down by Latrick. NATO, though, does connect on that pin. Tiger falls to Proton. In the meantime, Thimble and Bananarama getting involved in the mix as well, but High Ground still in possession of Arcadia. They've got to do something to kick off Proton. Sitting on that D.Va bomb as well. Will definitely throw it to stall out this last point.
And I actually leave it on the high ground. Shatter's gonna find everybody. Maybe gonna be able to go. Gets the rematch onto Bananarama. Gonna swing everything back. Proton and Kojo just taking everybody out and carrying it from the tank line here, Yelk.
This is fantastic big brain play from Arcadia. I mean, the wherewithal from Proton on the fresh patch to use the Remac to get that kill onto Bananarama was insane. I thought the D.Va bomb plus the shatter from Kojo was gonna find a billion kills, but I don't know what happened to the D.Va bomb, why anyone was able to stay safe there.
Not sure, but this is a good Maywall to start off the fight. Ironclad rolling in, stunning, fanning, takes out Crusher 99. Now he's just gonna be bombing these shots away.
Kojo does go down pretty quickly to a flurry of headshots from Bananarama, who is not done yet, seeming to go in with Ironclad. This attacking team just pushing very aggressively, very deep without a shield. They don't want to give it up quite yet. Dragon Strike even trying to go through, but it seemed to be stunned out or killed in time. Proton finding that kill.
That was an ambitious Dragon Strike there. In all alone on a breakaway was Thimble, and he tried to let one fly. And he's going to wish he had that one back because Squib is going to have his ultimate online, and they could have gone for a nice easy little combo. Crusher doesn't have the ultimate. Would have made it easy to roll on through, but now you're just going to have to combo the old-fashioned way. Send the grab in and send NATO right into it, and maybe a little High Noon to put things over the top.
And the most pressure right now is definitely on Proton to eat that Graviton Surge. They've already eaten one. If Proton can eat this grab as well. Squib goes down early, never mind that window, amplified that Fire Strike, and a whole ton of damage around Squib. They're pushing in now. Shatter lands, taking care of the Immortality Field, and taking care of Tiger and Bananarama.
Yeah, taken care of. That's for sure. Kojo taking care of everybody. Fight's actually swinging back. Thimble finds two. Kojo's going to get a couple more, though. Bomb is going to be invested. It's a good bomb for North Alabama to get out of Arcadia right there. Maybe make it a little easier in the last moments. But just as I said, control does not speak for itself. It does not speak for the rest of these maps because Arcadia is coming out and they are firing. They want this map, and they look like the far better team after getting kind of swept away on Lijiang.
They definitely do, and remember, this is our 4 seed up in this one. I think a lot of their winning fights. Oh, big headshot through the window, and High Noon as well finds Crusher. This is the North Alabama team that wants to steamroll in. Shatter comboed with the grab, just like you said. NATO gets sent right in. That should be all the damage cleaned up. No ultimates left on the side for Arcadia. Can they get out in time for a contest?
They probably won't get out in time for a contest. They might just take early positioning here to try to get as many fights as they can before the 3rd point, because North Alabama is only going to have a minute 30 to cap this point. And with only a minute 30 to get it with any amount of time, which they need to at this point, they're going to have to do it exceptionally fast, and they cannot lose a fight. And that is going to be rather difficult, only having the Dragon Strike online and a Nano coming up from Tiger.
You take this fight quick if you are Arcadia. You want to have this advantage when Squib is down. Switching over to the Diva now is Squib as we speak of it. Thimble's sitting on this Dragon Strike, looking to get it involved, maybe split up Arcadia, but you're right, they're going to have to play exceptionally well. Dragon Strike coming in now. Can it find anything? It does. It finds Kojo. The front line faltering for Arcadia, and they are pushed back. Latrick and Crusher fall as well. Proton is DMEC. Maybe they can stagger this kill out and really get a lot of time off the clock. 47 seconds left. This is the longest 3rd point in all of Payload. To get time on the clock here would be insane.
And it looks like they have a pretty good chance to do it. Zoning High Noon's going to just take that Crusher 99 right off of it, and they do it with time. Going to put a minute up on the clock and add a little bit of extra time here to Arcadia, but that is heartbreaking if you are Arcadia, because you had that one signed, sealed, and delivered, and they only got one fight on that 3rd point. They played too slow. They didn't engage early. Oh. They just didn't engage. Then they got killed. Then they got staggered right to the end. It was a good.
How good they held that 2nd point, and to just get melted through on 3rd, it seemed like there was no contest there.
Yeah, I mean, Thimble hit a huge dragon though. That was a big part of it. The positioning that Arcadia decided to take wasn't as upfront as it could have been, so it was halfway through the 3rd point, and then they got split up by a dragon, and it basically killed off the Diva, basically just killed off the entire tank line, which is always devastating if you're an Overwatch team. But either way, they're only gonna have a minute right now to take a point, take a tick, whatever North Alabama is going to try to get here, and then Arcadia is going to get a chance to answer with almost 2 minutes, which is an entire alt rotation.
Yeah, and you can just tell how much this Arcadia team relies on Kojo and Proton with this tank play to keep them alive and in it. Proton had some insane Diva bombs that won them a lot of fights outright. Kojo again with the big slams like you were mentioning. Yeah. But I think Latrick has stood out of nowhere, making the biggest impact for this team this map.
I would 100% agree. By himself, basically dealing with the Pharah, getting some help from Proton, of course, but no one else can really help other than the Baptiste, and Baptiste has got his hands full with this tank line, so Latrick's absolutely crushing it.
And very quick and into the point is North Alabama. They had no problem taking this last time, and the first time or the 2nd time looks just as strong. They just have Iron Crabs go in around, force the touch from Arcadia, and they never seem to be ready for it. And uncontested in the skies that fight the entire time. Iron Crab just raining in those rockets. They're going to collect this 1st point, and that is huge in overtime because their defense on 1st looked just as strong as this tape.
Yeah, he just Ironcrad just played that thatched roof right there and just kind of danced right on top of him. There was almost no way for Latrick to get an angle on him, just raining rockets and allowing for NATO to just run right in there uncontested as well. Ryan and Farah were just so hard to deal with at the same time, and neither of them were handled.
And we see Ironcrad wanting to go aggressive again, gets the Mercy Pocket briefly from Tiger, who has to go back and move the point. So Ironcrad will just have to sit on his back heel for now before they can go in with this deadly barrage that I'm sure is going to make a big impact. Last time Around got a 2K, had a team kill previously in this game as well, and just controlling this gun, and by doing this, controls so much of the second point.
Yeah, he's so hard to contest right here. Hainu gonna come out and to push him out of that position, trying to find anybody on cart, gonna have a diva in his face to try to help set that up, a window to follow it up as well. Grab gonna lock everybody up. Ironcrad staring at his nose to pull the trigger though. Good play on Ironcrad to have the discipline. They knew they had the dragon to finish that up, and now Ironcrad's gonna have this barrage to set up for the second point take.
And that's exactly what North Alabama had to do, using that grab and that dragon to just kick off Arcadia University from that high ground. That's what gave them so much trouble last round, and they fixed that in their play this round. That's the kind of play you see from these championship teams. That is just pure adaptation to how they were able to take second so smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely. Just played it entirely differently. You know, Ironcrad just controlling that high ground, as you said. But now they're going to go into third point, opting to keep the Pharah. I think it's a good look. You still have this barrage, and even though it's indoors, it's not going to matter. Barrage comes out and gets shut down. Now the Mayfree's locking everybody up, trying to stop this payload right here, yo.
It should be enough. The slam comes through from NATO, who says that he's not done yet. The attacking team does have some very close spawns. Tiger can't get that res off. Nobody can get back to the point, and the hold does come through there, but not before a little more than 2 points were collected by North Alabama with a fantastic overtime attack to fix their previous round of Overwatch.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's more than enough space for North Alabama to call this one a win if they're able to play it correctly on their defense. If they can't hold this first point, if they get rolled over right away, kind of like Arcadia did, it could spell disaster here for North Alabama. But their first point hold last time, they got a lot of time off the clock before they gave up the first point. So who really knows how this one's going to shake out, but Arcadia opted for that slow play style on point one the first time they attacked. If they do that again, they might only get one legitimate fight with ultimates. And if they don't win it, could be very, very difficult. And if they do win it, they might be playing the whole entire second point in the overtime ticker.
Yeah, and it seems like we're going to see Ironcrad on this Genji, so clearly a different strategy coming up from North Alabama this time. They did have an insane fortress on first point last time around. Yes. I just want to say a very impressive and notable defense. And now setting up this time, Ironcrad on the Genji seems like they're playing for that Nano Blade end game, which they can just let it rip on second point, maybe get a 3K or a 4K, and just put this map to bed.
That is an ambitious strategy because it's a bit of a flimsy strategy. You lose a lot of damage in the mid fight, and if this Nano Blade does not collect, that creates a ton of space for Arcadia right here. But Latrick not going to be on the McCree to stun him up, but Latrick's going to be on the Hanzo to find Tiger in the backline. That is gigantic.
Challenged by Ironcrad, the duel won by the damage dealer from North Alabama, but it doesn't look like they'll escape on their way to the Mega Health Pack room, but found by Proton. Still with the advantage in this fight is Arcadia University, and they will push it. That Maywall does split off NATO. On that fire strike kill on the Batman, even fight, but NATO are not able to stay alive to that damage from Pluto, who is not missing icicles right now. Headshots down NATO, able to hit Thimble with that body shot, final blow. And Kojo just making easy work of the rest of the front line. No contest should be coming through, but Ironcrad just wants to push everything to its limits.
Absolutely, he just wants to farm up this Genji Blade, because even though he won that duel with Latrick, he's only got 35%, and Arcadia was able to take this first point so swiftly. That's exactly what they had to do to at least push this payload along the second point. Not entirely in overtime. They've got at least 29 seconds where they don't have to be on the cart, but once that ticker goes down to 0, they're going to have to stand on this cart to force overtime not to run out.
Yeah, no matter what, I would believe that North Alabama is just playing with this second point as free ground, just choosing to take this high ground as Kojo goes in aggressively toward this high ground. He's got that shatter in his back pocket. The supports are actually with him as well. Maywall comes in the split. Shadow's gonna land on the floor. Fire strike eaten up by the Demon, but NATO's not gonna live. Pluto still doing the work, landing icicle after icicle. And it's gonna be Swift taken care of on the point. V-Neck, Ironcrad trying to push the aggression, but will fall as well. But now Neely, look what they've got. They finally got that Nano Blade for the overtime contest.
They've got Nano Blade. They've got Window. They have Shatter and Bomb. So many things to get you off a point, and guess what, yo? They can't leave this point. Thatchman gonna use this window. Shatter's gonna come out and get shut down. This is actually so close. They do not have to push this payload far here, Yelk.
This is winnable for Arcadia. What needed to happen right there was for North Alabama to realize that that second point does not matter at all. All that matters is where this yellow rectangle is that marks the finish line in overtime. They had to set up there, and now they're going to be just scrambling to get back to the front line. NATO is not close.
Lucio.
The payload is only 5 meters away. They got to get a touch in. Blade comes out. Tiger puts the nano on, goes in, but the beat drop is there to counter everything. Pushed into the back line. His Iron Card's got to find nothing. Swift finding 2 with a bomb. And the defense looking like they're still alive. Countered by another Diva bomb. Just to zone them off. NATO playing with some very low HP. Arcadia does not want to give this up. Latrick with the final elim here. And it's going to be Arcadia tying this one up after Blizzard World in a fantastic overtime.
That was fantastic. I mean, I think we kind of labeled it prior to the game, and they go for that Genji play, and they just never get it off. They try to engage onto that second point. Like you said, it did not matter about that second point. They went too hard in on that, staggered themselves out, and didn't have a Lucio to get back. But Latrick showing why he might be the best player on Arcadia right now.
And that is what we can expect from this game. So glad to see it as a best of 7. We're going to get to watch a lot of great Overwatch tonight. Don't go anywhere, as we got a panel coming at you right after this map. So stay with us, chat, and have a good time watching these two fine gentlemen during our intermission.
All right, and we're back here after map number 2. Our producer has not told me yet who won map number 2 there, because we're still on the 3-minute delay. Okay, we're still on the 3-minute delay here, so it's 1-1, Arcadia and North Alabama. North Alabama showed really good, for lack of a better term, control on the control map. They're taking that one 2-0. But then Arcadia just showing why they wanted to be in this position here on Blizzard World. Jacob, what are your thoughts so far on this match?
Yeah, man, I thought Arcadia bounced back nicely there. I thought North Alabama was took control early. I thought they were better, obviously, in the first round, and very nice bounce back from Arcadia. And like we said, Jim, I thought they were going to play well, and here we are. You know, we're all square after 2.
Yeah, no, Arcadia, they looked a little bit rough there in map number 1. I think one of their members jumped off the map, leaving the dropship on map number 1. It confused a lot of people there. It confused the announcers. I think it confused Arcadia, and it looks like they just never recovered mentally after that one. But whatever they lost mentally on map number 1, they definitely brought back on map number 2. So just really good there. And this one looks like it might go the distance. Like we thought it might. We thought these two teams very closely matched here. We thought this might be the one that could do damage to us and put us behind tonight as far as being on time for the rest of the matches.
Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, I think that, Arcadia, we thought they'd play well. I think they were excited about this opportunity. We talked at the open of this broadcast how, you get an opportunity, you got to capitalize on it, and they played well. And I think that, North Alabama probably prepared and got ready, and now they find themselves with a different opponent. Now they have to sort of bounce back and show that there's a reason that they deserve this championship. And we'll see, Jim, if they're able to do that. But I think this has the makings of a good one. I think we're in for a good night, obviously, across the board, of a lot of fun action, and this one's starting off pretty nicely.
I think on map Temple of Anubis is next. Does that mean we're good to go, Mr. Producer? Okay, he's just letting us know. He's just letting us know. So yeah, Temple of Anubis will be next up there. I have to say, I really liked round 3 of map number 2. I thought round 3 really showcased what we were going to see for the rest of the match here. Arcadia doing a little bit of work on the offensive side with a really solid push. I mean, yeah, they came back and played good defense, but a really solid push there. And it was a lot of fun to watch.
I got to say, Jim, early on, I think the energy is good. Chat is aggressive early on. So we need to make sure we're on the up and up there. Okay, that's first and foremost. It's too early in the night to have such animosity, have such anger. It's a nice day. It's at least in my neck of the woods. Let's be supportive of our teams. Let's not put other teams down, put other programs down, and the like. And this is the first of 4. So we're going to hand out 4 championships tonight. This is going to be a good one. Obviously, we got Boise State taking on UC Santa Cruz next, and we're going to go from there, Jim. But this is shaping up to be a good one that obviously could go a long ways, as these two teams seem pretty evenly matched in this championship showdown.
I really think, and the announcers kind of talked about it a little bit, it might come down to the flex players.
Yep.
That's what it might come down to, and maybe come down to some hero choices.
Hello.
The announcers talked about they really liked some of the hero choices there in map number 2. I had to agree with them for the most part. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can come up with here.
Yes.
And in the rest of it, and even just in map number 3, I think map number 3 is going to be very telling here. And I think a couple of other people think that as well, being Neely and Yelkrab. But I think they're having a good time with it, and why not? This is a really fun one to call for them. But I don't know which way it's going to go. Both teams look very dominant.
Yeah, and both teams have had very good stretches, right? And that's not surprising. But I think that as we go forward, whenever you have a tie situation, 1 apiece, 2 apiece, et cetera, in a best of 7, these sort of odd games, right? 1, 3, 5, and 7, those are the ones that dictate the outcome of these games. And I think that a team that takes control of this map 2-1, that's a big advantage, not necessarily because you're on the verge of winning, but the other team then knows if they drop map number 4, they're down 3-1, and that's a really tough hill to climb. So this third decision, it could go a long ways to determining the outcome of this one.
No, I think you're right. I think the odd-numbered matches, the ones coming out of a break, whoever has the better mental coming out of the break, I think those are going to be the ones that really set the tone. Because like I said, you win that one, you put your opponent on the back foot. Because like you said, if they lose that second one in a row, well, then you're right there at match point.
And you learn a lot about your group, how you reconnect, how you communicate during the break, get back on the same page. One of the common themes we heard last night, Jim, throughout our Valorant championships, was the teams that sort of stayed on the same page. Even when they faced adversity, they got back on the right direction. They got things organized. And a lot of teams, a lot of players we talked to in those post-game interviews, they said, we just had to calm down. We had to regroup. So when you come back to those things, that's the difference between winning and losing a lot of times, because these teams are so evenly matched, right? It's not just one side is better than the other. When teams are so evenly matched, it's little things like that that determine the outcome of the game.
Or something like falling off of the landing ramp, getting off the dropship, which hopefully we won't see on Temple of Anubis. But our producer has said we're ready to go into map number 3, so we're going to throw it back to Neely and Yelkrab, and they're going to have some fun calling maps 3 and 4.
Gators and then Cal State, Northern Essex.
Sorry about that, Caleb.
All right, welcome back, chat. Action almost about to resume here for map 3 between these two teams, North Alabama and Arcadia. This one is tied up 1-1 after an insane Blizzard World that Arcadia won 6-5 up on the scoreboard. Neely, how were they able to do it?
Well, they were just able to. I mean, they started off the map so strong, Yelk. They took it with almost 2 minutes. Well, then they kind of got stalled up by a ball, but either way, they looked so strong on the attack. They got their map pick, which can sometimes be enough in these playoff formats to swing it in your favor. Seemingly almost lost it in the overtime round, but was able to clutch up and steam right back through like they did the first time of this Blizzard World objective.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. They got their map pick, and that looked so strategized, especially on that second point defense. Arcadia looked phenomenal holding up on those high grounds. Now we're going to be going into Assault 2CP, as some people know it as, but either way you look at it, it's Temple of Anubis, and it's North Alabama's map pick this time. Emergence Division again. You and I both love Junkrat. You think teams play them here, or do you think we see some different strategies, maybe some more that we've already seen today?
Well, we've seen a little bit of Doomfist already, and I know second point defense, Doomfist can be exceptionally strong, but on the flip side of that, yes, Junkrat, yeah, the Thunderdome, as you like to call it. And what better place for it to be a Thunderdome than on or than for Doomfist, because, you know, he's the fighter, he's the puncher, he's the combo man. But I believe, yeah, I would be shocked if both teams weren't running a Junkrat. Sometimes you see the Pocket Ash on these high grounds can be very good when this fight rotates out to the point. A little Junk, maybe a little Ash. Double Shield I like to see. Maybe looking at some Ryan Arissa, which again I like, the German horsepower, as you like to call it, and I have adapted to calling it, of course. And also sticking with this double flex support backline is very interesting to me. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, Tiger and Bananarama clearly able to do a lot. I think this is a team that realizes right now you have to somewhat rely on Baptiste's Immortality Field, and they're doing that with Bananarama every time it seems like. And then Tiger realizes that these damage dealers can do a ton with the Nano Boost, so can the tanks, and just valuing that over the beat drop I think is pretty smart, at least on defense. Maybe you can just make a play to get like 3 quick picks in a fight. You can just turn someone into a threat when they're really not supposed to be, like a Reinhardt with a Nano Boost, as we know, can just do so much work. But a Bastion, Ironcrad, that with a Nano Boost is a different story.
Oh, look at this TP onto him. He takes that little high ground, little Apache helicopter, but Sims on both sides. One's going to have a Bastion to bring around. The other one's going to have a Mei. The Halt into the Bastion. Look, it's scary, and the nade from Tiger finds everybody. They're going to have to be forced back. No healing can be done. They're just going to have to hide away from this Bastion. They might have to do a lot of hiding away from this Bastion.
Tiger is in a supremely valuable spot up on that high ground. Not quite sure how long they can stay up there, but if Tiger goes uncontested, these nades are going to keep coming in and certainly out-tempo. Hatchman on this Baptiste. Another nade goes in, purpling for that time. Arcadia can't do anything. Bunkered up back there, even when the nades hit. It doesn't matter what kind of tanking resources you have. There's another one that finds Proton and Thatchman, and they will quickly fall. All right, now, Tiger needs the answer.
Yeah, he really does. No one ever went up to go get him. Really, only Proton can go get him. But here's the problem for Arcadia right now. They seem to have this all planned out, but it almost seems counterpicked right now because Bastion needs something to be able to shoot him, and they only have a Mei right now to shoot him. They have a little bit of defense matrix, and that is gonna be it. They might even be able to force a rotation right onto him, but they're gonna just Tim TP right to point, try to get a tick now and force the pressure down, but Ironcrad's gonna find Thatchman, and it looks like it's all gonna spill out right here.
Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, you do have to touch the point. If you're doing what Arcadia is doing, trying to throw fastballs like this, there is no safe spot on there. They are able to get that kill onto NATO, but now everyone is boosted up by Squib's Supercharger. Proton poses some threat, but not for long, as Ironcrad and Thimble with the damage boost make pretty instant work of them. But Neely, what I was in the middle of saying is you have to rotate around. You can't just keep on going right down in the gut, because Ironcrad is going to keep their distance behind the shield, and at some point you got to be able to do damage onto him.
Yeah, Ironcrad and Squib are just a little tag team. They just stick together. And the thing is only Mei, yet again, is the one that can shoot. And Thatchman's still going to be the first to fall again in a rotation to the Bastion. They're still going to go for it, though. With no Baptiste, this could be disastrous.
Yeah, this could certainly be tricky. You can see the high ground defense already set up very well. NATO just shielding right in front of Ironcrad. Not being funny about it one bit. Knows the most valuable damage dealer on this North Alabama team is certainly him. He's going to be sitting on his ultimate as well, and the Baptiste window could make Ironcrad that much more dangerous. Rotation starting to take a little too much time here. We've seen 40 seconds hit off the clock, and that Maywall fails, unfortunately, for Arcadia. They're going to have to figure something out, as they've just got 50 seconds left. Finally, we see an ultimate coming through. It's Latrick with the Maywall pushing right up to that high ground now. B-drop comes up from Crusher, but it's not going to be enough to save Proton. Ironcrad falls to 3 HP, but manages to get some healing from the friendly Baptiste and takes down Proton, Pluto, and friends to end off this fight. 30 seconds left for Arcadia to make something happen.
We're starting to see when one team gets a map pick in their favor, it's looking like North Alabama can do a lot with their own map pick, and they can still make it close against Arcadia when they have their map pick, even though they still fell. But this is looking dire. 16 seconds going down to 10 on the clock. But you have some big ultimates. This Diva Bomb could definitely dislodge a bunker comp like this.
It definitely can. Arcadia is sitting on the ultimates to win this fight. There's no doubt about it. Kojo coming in fully aggressive. And this D.Va bomb doesn't find anything but will zone them down. Now they're finally in an awkward spot of this map. Shatter finds nothing but a big blue rectangle of NATO. And the blizzard comes through from Pluto. It's a little too late though. Ironcrad still undealt with. Finds the 2K. 4 are dead. It's just pressure on the point now in overtime. Will tick down in North Alabama. Will have themselves in fantastic positioning to take the lead back.
Absolutely fantastic positioning, and not once did Arcadia opt to go with a character that could truly just shoot towards the Bastion, break down his resources, and then pressure him out of positions. Once that fight broke out, almost every time he was able to just stay in turret, not even have to utilize the Sim TP that much unless he went for an aggressive play, and he could just rain down terror, and nothing was there to deal with it. 2 seconds of D.Va defense matrix is never going to be enough to deal with the Bastion on high ground.
Now, when they had the Symmetra right, you have to get up close. You've got to be quick about it. Going to point, you can stay safe in those buildings, and we were seeing Arcadia know how to bunker up in them and stay safe after anti-nade after anti-nade from Tiger on the high ground. They looked like they were strong, bunkered up in there, but really, it's just an attrition battle. Ironcrad is going to be doing so much damage from so far away. Got to deal with them somehow, and you can't just stay far away forever.
No, you have to eventually fight them, and when the fight comes to it, it's just, we have these tank resources, we stand on the point, and then they're gone, and then you're still on the point, and then eventually the damage is going to come through and clean you up. Ironcrad looking to play that far. Once again, Tiger going to be swapping off that patented Ana to the Mercy that they've already been known to play. But yeah, Tiger was an all-star right there on that high ground for the first 2 minutes, I would say. Just hitting nade after nade, never having to use one defensively, all on the offense, finding 2 or more every single time.
This time they won't have the luxury of choosing where to position at the start of the map, so they'll be pocketing Ironcrad as he will work his way in on the far. Squib going for a very early touch, making Arcadia uncomfortable. They give up that high ground perch they were just sitting on. A couple of icicles connect with Ironcrad, but talk about connect. That rocket onto Thatchman really opens things up here for the attack. Crusher 99 is not going to be enough here with the Lucio heals. They've got to make a move awfully quickly as the Baptiste Immortality Field is enough to save Squib. Thimble finds Kojo, the main tank. Can't get enough healing to live through this fight. Crusher finally falls and no supports left for Arcadia, and the first tick and the map, Temple of Anubis, will be taken by North Alabama.
And swiftly at that there, Yelk. And unlike Arcadia, North Alabama went for 2 DPS that could just poke away that whole defense, just getting rid of the resources of Arcadia and slowly winning that. Ironcrad going to be coming out on the Bastion. And we saw this already a few times, but he's going to just dust everybody up. Ooh, takes Proton out while he uses the bomb, and then a free high ground to shoot at on the opposing side.
Yeah, that speaks for itself right there. That blizzard from Pluto was utter desperation. We're going to be going to Escort next, so things should probably fare much better for Arcadia. Not only does that game mode seem to suit them more, but it's also going to be their map pick, and that is incredibly valuable in this championship matchup as we've seen so far.
Yeah, nothing more important than a map pick right now. It seems to be the deciding factor here, Yelk. Seems to be whoever gets the map pick gets the map win. Now, Arcadia did barely win their last map pick, so North Alabama's still looking like the better team, but I think if Arcadia gets on a comp that they're more comfortable with, I think you gotta get Latrick onto that McCree that he is so strong on, and maybe get a little bit more momentum, because they've 2 times now run this no poke, no range damage kind of comp, and they're just not able to interact with North Alabama.
Yeah, it's tricky closing the distance sometimes, especially when you have someone like Tiger up on one high ground and then Ironcrad of Bastion, of all things, up on another directly above you, and they just really didn't seem like they cared too much about contesting the point, but that is not the case in Payload. You've got to kind of constantly contest it. You can let it move through the point, but at some point, I mean, it's like baseball. You got to throw a strike. You got to get it over the plate, and the defense has to put something there for the attack to make a move on.
Yeah, I mean, we've all played Temple of Anubis. That is just a nightmare of a first point sometimes. It is a fun first point because it's one of the most strategized, as you like to say so often. But on the flip side of that, when you get strategized on and you have no way of cracking it, I mean, it is just devastating. But either way, we're done with Temple of Anubis. For Arcadia, thank God, they are so happy that they can move on. Just put it behind them. It's only 2-1. You still got a lot of maps ahead of you, and Rialto is the next map that Arcadia is going to be selecting, which makes a lot of sense to me. They seem to like these brawl comps. They seem to like these long maps, so Rialto could be really good for Arcadia.
It definitely could be, and to your point about strategies and first point, it seems to be that that's North Alabama's biggest strength is first point defenses. If Arcadia can just crack the code on the first point, it doesn't seem like North Alabama have that deep of a playbook to rely on, whereas Arcadia has seemed strongest in the mid-map phases of most of these rounds.
Yeah, no, it does. It really does seem that way. It seems, to me at least, that North Alabama has all of that flexibility in their team, where Arcadia seems a bit more limited in what they can do. Either way, Arcadia is still very impressive here in the playoffs, making it this far and still showing up against a flexible team like North Alabama. Definitely no slouches here, and they have the pieces and components. Maybe if you just bar that flexibility a bit, they still have the pieces and components to absolutely compete. Latrick can go toe-to-toe with Ironcrad anytime, but Yelk, I am so excited to see what Latrick can do on this Rialto map.
Yeah, Rialto is going to be pretty tricky, pretty friendly to the Hanzo and also the Pharah. So I think they're playing to his hero pool right now. They do have him flex off of his main, the McCree, which he plays a lot on the ranked ladder. He is the fill guy, the utility DPS on this team, and they are setting him up pretty well by going to Rialto here, despite it not being their map pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Pharah is very good on Rialto. So many buildings, so many little angles you can take, a couple of spots for crazy flank barrages. So first through second is really good for Pharah. Third, maybe not so much, but even still getting into that third point, you can use those pillars. You can still use all that tall structure to play around with Pharah. And even without that, he looks good on everything he plays, and May can also be exceptionally strong here on Rialto. Both teams, I would almost imagine, would run it. But again, you never really know. Double Shield could be really good on maps like this just as well. It's kind of just a mystery as to what these teams want to run and what they're strong at.
Yeah, we could see a lot of the same Hanzo good on this map as well. It seems like teams aren't getting too outrageous with their map picks in this one. Not really going to throw in any crazy strats here or there, just constantly go with what they're good at and maybe flip-flop games as they flip-flop map picks, but we'll just have to see. So far, the Reinhardt battle has been pretty fun to watch between NATO and Kojo. I mean, the four-letter main tank just going for the throne, both of them. And who do you think has stood out as the better main tank, or at least through the first three maps, who has had the better performance?
Well, I mean, you'd have to break it down map to map. I would say it's been almost even generally throughout the series, but because you can't, like Temple of Anubis, there was no main tank battle. Nothing happened on that side of it. It was just kind of a team differential with the setup. It didn't seem to be a main tank battle on that one. That was a DPS battle. That was an entire team battle.
We agree.
But on Lijiang, I would say NATO took that one a bit. It was obviously they won in a decisive fashion, so your main tank's going to look good, but he opened up with some big shatters, some big blocks. But Kojo really came alive on what was the map here, Burke? Blizzard World. Jeez. Yeah, I was like, I wanted to say, hybrid, but I'm like, I gotta say the map name here. Either way, rolling out right onto Rialto. Fire Strike gonna be firing the Ironcrad.
Ironcrad looking like he had his feet in some wet cement right there. Did not get out of the way of that one. Tiger also fell to the early headshot from Latrick, and this team doesn't have enough up in front to stay standing much longer. Big coming through, but Kojo, you are gonna find the drink, and the boop will not be there. Squib looking like they're actually going to be able to escape.
Yeah, Kojo got a little thirsty right there from last map. It was a bit, a little warm over in Temple of Anubis, and he had to get some refreshments to go to this next fight. But now they're not going to have their main tank, so it's going to be really hard to make this fight, but Kojo's still making it back rather swiftly.
Already coming up pretty quickly on that Earth Shatter too, landing another crucial fire, so that could just get him that. Sitting at 93% now, rolling in, but the support from his team has gone down. The tempo no longer there with Crusher out of the fight, and Kojo chooses to reverse pin and get out of dodge while he can.
Yeah, he's gonna actually make it out. I thought he was gonna leave Thatchman out to dry. Thatchman just rotating right out along with him, but now the window and the fire strike for Arcadia is online. They're gonna go right in with this window to create some space to take out Squib. Shatter's gonna find, and everyone's gonna hit the ground from Koja right there, and the cleanup is soon to follow.
You'll love it when the Orisa goes down first like that. You only have to worry about NATO blocking with the shield. That time, everyone being on full retreat. Leave them with the proper reactions to put the shield up for that one, and now they just push right up to the spawn. Should get a few more kills if they play it smart.
They might be able to clean some of these up. It looks like they will. A great May wall here. Kojo just going to be swinging away like it's batting practice, hitting a bunch of dingers right now.
Yeah, Kojo heard us talking main tanks in between maps. A little fun play from Squib, but Proton is actually doing something pretty smart here, staggering him out. Does look like he won't get away, so unfortunate for them. But Proton, I think making the right move, just taking a little too long. I wouldn't exactly call that trolling if they can get that kill confirmed. But now Squib can set up with this supercharger and look awfully dangerous.
Yeah, but this card's already moved very far because of those staggers. They don't really get this high ground point to shoot at them while they cross the bridge. Ironcrad just staring him down right now. He's got the bomb. He's got a tank in his pocket. Where does he keep it?
Yeah, this is just a lot of pressure in the middle of the board right here. Thimble pops that Jet Blossom, able to take care of Thatchman. It looks like the attacker, we're going to have to try again here.
Bob also invested by Ironcrad, getting it taken down by Crusher 99. Bit of a strange fight. I don't know if we needed that Bob, but either way, they're going to take that fight rather decisively. They did need to win that fight. If you lose that fight, you're definitely put on the back foot with a lot of time, and going to make it really hard to recontest that second point. Now they're still going to have 2 tank ults and both support ults. Should be able to hold, but I guarantee that this is going to be a lot of ultimates pressed right now. It's going to get real colorful, Yelk.
It definitely is, and the payload is not exactly far enough to make this all said and done on seconds for Arcadia if they win this fight, but they're doing the right thing, pushing up against this high ground, making their way into the staircase as the main tank starts to flash. Immortality Field gets used from Thatchman. Earth Shatter finds nothing but a little bit of the wall, and Ironcrad and Nano both go down. That's an insane flashbang from Latrix. Stepping up into this one is Kojo with a shatter that stuns 3, and on their retreat, everyone, it looks like, but Squib is going to find their way back to spawn.
Squib's still going to be trying to poke here. They might even be able to go up and stagger him. They're not going to opt to. They just want to take this fight right at the end of point 2. They were luckily able to save 3 ultimates. That is massive for trying to win this fight. High Noon coming out, but he's going to get taken out by Ironcrad.
The defense coming out swinging the Blizzard to try and zone them off. That could be the C9. The bomb finding a pair. Make it 3. Proton heads up play, gets the remake kill on the Thimble as well. The one-hand remake. You love to see it. Really easy to combo, and there's a Blizzard there from Pluto freezing up everyone. That's a fantastic fight to stay in that one from Arcadia, especially after Latrick going down so early.
Yeah, it's just too many parts, this Diva Bomb ult. They just added a whole second part, and people are getting so much use of it. We've seen 6 or 7 of those just in like 4 games. It's unbelievable how much value a silly thing like remake damage is getting. Either way, Crusher 99 has the beat drop again to try to survive against this High Noon or Death Blossom.
Latrick around the outside gets found out by the DPS. Thimble doesn't let him get too far, and Ironcrad trying to just go right into this fight. Get right into the dirty area and just drop a High Noon, but on a good retreat is Arcadia. They're not gonna let North Alabama get away with anything too fancy. In fact, Kojo comes through and finds Ironcrad asleep at the wheel. And now going in with a Baptiste window.
Oh, man.
Thrown up by Thatchman, powers him up with Thimble into the back line. Gotta find both supports before going down to the headshot icicle from Pluto. The Diva D-Mac, Proton without his suit. It's gonna be tough for Arcadia to cling on to this fight. And one by one they go down. Fantastic flank from Thimble.
Yeah, Thimble did exactly what he had to do right as it looked like North Alabama was going to be on their heels. He drops one into the back line, forces everyone to turn around, but just too late. Going to get both supports. No Immortality Field was able to even come up. It was done so quickly. And now Ironcrad and NATO going to have the ults online and maybe looking to combo them up a little bit here. Oh, Nate finds 6.
Nate does find 6. Shatter finds nothing. That's a long animation from the top turnbuckle, and NATO's trying to show him how it's done here. Camping behind the payload, making it difficult to see him actually cast that Earth Shatter. Thimble on another flank. finding down Latrick, who's been the first pick 3 fights in a row. Ironcrad not done there, controlling this high ground and staying put, doing what damage he can to charge up that high noon for next fight.
Yeah, doing his best he can. Ironcrad's look good all day here, but Thimble kind of coming alive on this Rialto map right now. But now Pluto and Latrick both have their ultimates. High Noon is going to be very difficult to use on this attack early. Not a lot of angles you can use, so you really have to push up this ramp and then maybe get a little bit of a look here with the High Noon. But Pluto is going to be looking to engage with that May Freeze, and that's one thing Arcadia has been good at this whole game, is they are pretty good at engaging with their ultimates first.
But first this time is going to be NATO with a Shatter that stuns 5, gets the Nano Boost out as well, and this room is playing at around 135 HP with a head full of confidence to take down Thatchman last. Looking like one might get away, but no, everyone on Arcadia finds their way back to spawn.
Yeah, no better ult economy than a Shatter just sweeping everybody up and putting them away. They invest the Nano as well right when he lays down the Shatter, but they're able to charge all these other ultimates up, get them very close to this next fight. Arcadia now does have the nod. They have the edge to take this, and they're going for another rotation with the High Noon popping out early. Gonna find Tiger. Now the Mayfree's not really finding anybody, just kind of zoning everybody away. The LOS is broken, and now the attackers are the defenders, and the defenders are the attackers here, yo.
Arcadia's got to be careful. They can't overinvest anything else here or they won't finish the map. North Alabama is coming up on some ultimates, and they realize that they're just gonna do what they can with this fight. The ping does connect, and that'll take down Latrick again. Big slam from NATO. Maybe to find something more, but he will go down. That is just a cocky Earth Shatter at the end game.
Yeah, that was, he got the pin, and you know, sometimes you get the pin and you're just like, I can do it all. I'm Reinhardt, and then you're swiftly reminded that you are Reinhardt and that you cannot do it all. You are a team character. Window on this defensive side used right where you need to, nice and early. Gonna be hard to push into this, but the bomb can push right in.
Shatter hits him, but the bubbles are going to save both of those tanks. Now the Death Blossom from Thimble is going to be enough to take down Kojo. Ironcrad can survive through that High Noon, and now Thimble left to do a lot of the work here onto the point. As the Slept May just left laying there will not get cleaned up. Squib is busy in the back line at 100 charge, and he'll be able to do all the damage that North Alabama needed them to finish off this defense. 2 points collected, 79 meters. On their way to the third is where the payload will stop for Arcadia, but a pretty good attack and a fairly decent win condition.
Yeah, a decent win condition. If you're Arcadia right now, obviously you want to get all 3 points. Who doesn't want to get 3 points in the game of Overwatch? But if you are Arcadia, spirits are high, and you're saying this is absolutely winnable. It's not quite right up to the end, but it's far enough that you could easily get a nice hold on this. It's through that third choke right there that's so difficult to play through. So it's exactly where they needed to get it if they want to take this map. They could also be looking for a nice first point hold here, Yelk. You never know. When it's your map, there's a lot of strategy that goes into this first point as well. That second phase of the first point has so much open area. If you opt for a sniper, if you opt for anything like that, you can really make it work. Looks like they're going to go for the regular rush. But again, also very strong. Holding that tight blue wall on one of those corners here on first point can be very, very good.
Definitely a good walkthrough of the map. You can just see that bridge phase right there. If you're coming out of that second point spawn for attackers, they're going to be set up in those windows on that high ground. And sometimes it can just be insane to just siege across that bridge as the attacking team. Your tanks have to use pretty much every resource just to keep your team in the fight before you even get there. And then that's not even the toughest spot. That staircase on second point is pretty much unbreakable sometimes for most defenses.
Well, unbreakable, yes, because it is part of the map, so you can't actually dismantle it, but it's hard to break through. I know what you mean. I'm just joking with you, but Ironcrad back on the Genji. This is not proven to be super successful so far, and that is what we'd call not super successful. They're going to get pinned up by Kojo and sent back to the spawn.
Yeah, a little bit of a dry fight maybe. I would be slightly shocked to see Ironcrad stay on this hero, but it looks like they will. Pluto is really starting to impress me with the accuracy on those icicles.
Yeah, he is no slouch on this Mei character. This is when it is nice to have a Mei specialist, of course, especially in a Mei meta, because the more shots you're able to hit, the faster you can farm up that ult. He's already going to be ticking over to 60%. Not quite competing with Thatchman, but doesn't really need to.
And NATO's going to be aggressive. They're going to find out Pluto right there as Ironcrad finishes off that kill. Fastman puts up the window, throws down the Immortality Field, and they are stable on this corner. Kojo's Fire Strike finding a pair, but NATO looking to make a play. Not done yet. In deep, but does not shatter. Plays off the trigger that time, Neely.
Does lay off the trigger. Luckily for North Alabama, they needed him to hang on to that one. If he signs that, that's going to be a big part of your ult economy gone. But Thatchman getting the most that he can out of his ultimate. Firestrike finds 2. Proton just going for a remac here. He got taken out. Wasn't thinking he could poke his way back up for the remac. Just going to try to get back as quick as he can from spawn.
And the attackers moving in again, this time with some ultimates. That shatter will be good enough to find Tiger, and Squib goes in, grabbing up 3. They are stunned. These kills will certainly be finished off, as will the first point, likely if they can just hang on, take care of Pluto, and make sure that Blizzard doesn't find too much value.
Doesn't look like it's going to find any on this first point, but if they can get a good reset here and they don't get staggered, they might be able to hold close, or they might be able to hold those windows that you keyed in on. But it's looking like that's going to be tough for Latrick. He's going to get absolutely run down, and they're kind of trying to save him, which could spell disaster for Arcadia, but they are going to run away, it looks like, and make their way back. But again, they might not get this hold in these so sacred windows up here, unfortunately.
No, they want to. That staircase is pretty easy access. The attacking team doesn't have quite the route to get there, but the Nanoblade comes in to clean it up, and that'll be Crusher countering it with the feed drop. Latrick trying to find him with the high noon, but instead Ironcrad tells him what time it is with the deflect right back toward him. Does go down to Pluto, but I think he did the job the attacking DPS was trying to do. Create some space here on this second point, and they've got ultimates to finish it. Bananarama throws up the window. Kojo goes down to a quick body shot from Thimble. That does 250 damage. NATO now, a little bit of help there from Tiger, finds a kill, but will fall. The Proton's bomb didn't have shield still for that. It was just cracked and broken right at the end there. Latrick finding a kill to just keep this defending team in it, but he will go down to Ironcrad back on the far, and now with no hits again to contest, the point should be finished off. Squib rolling in to take down Fastman, but Ironcrad has taken down the defenders. Arcadia, they don't want to give this up just yet, Neil.
They definitely do not want to give this up right yet. This is their point to keep right now. Looking like it was as dire as it could be, but now a quick response with the Dragon. Not many here for Arcadia, but they don't want to let it go. They're getting the close respawns, which is helping them immensely. Latrick's going to go down, but just as I say, a NATO goes down. And again, the fight just gets dicier.
And you can't even take this fight anymore if you're North Alabama, because Kojo, never mind, was sitting on an Earth Shatter with no shield in the way. If NATO can get back quickly, you can certainly make an impact. But right now, Ironcrad looking relatively uncontested. Latrick has to do something. Maybe Proton, maybe Thatchman, but someone's got to answer this far up in the skies. They're starting to do too much damage as Proton and Pluto both fall. 4 meters to go here as the Shatter comes through from Kojo, but it's got to find nothing except for Thimble. And he will be able to stay alive with help from Bananarama, who sacrifices their life. But it will get them the second point here on Rialto.
Almost 4 minutes on the clock, really more 3 minutes and 30 seconds, but plenty of time to get 2 to 3 ultimate rotations right now for North Alabama, and that should be enough unless Arcadia comes out with a great defense. But a great defense they could do, because Maywall gets exceptionally strong on this third point. These are the tightest chokes on Rialto, and Squib is going to get taken down immediately.
Squib is going to have a very tough time finishing off this map on that hero. High Noon coming out now is going to back up North Alabama. Shatter is going to land just before that stun hits. And the barrage over the top does a ton of damage. Even though the beat drop comes out, the HP bars on Arcadia are low. Thibble's able to kill Kojo, but NATO falling as well weakens North Alabama's chances. Still though, the attack presses on. Diva Bomb can't get too much value here. It's got to find Ironcrad. You really want him back in the fight. Maybe Tiger still has that res.
It gets up the res, and now a pause is going to be tossed up here, Yelk. This is looking dire right now. It looks like North Alabama has a really good chance to roll right through and take this objective right now, but who really knows as of this point?
We're seeing that NATO did disconnect, so that is why we went into that instant pause, but he'll try to be back in the mix as quick as possible. This payload is just meters from the finish line, and that would set up match point for North Alabama to take this final. They are really wishing their main tank was back in this fight because Arcadia is in a position coming out of this pause where they look pretty poised to take a fight.
Yeah, this looks like it's all North Alabama right now. They just got the res online for Ironclad. He is their carry. Unfortunately, it was taken down, but again, back in the fight. Windows out. Valkyrie is up. You have Dragon Strike to zone people off of this objective. I'm not exactly sure what they were at for Earth Shatter, but either way, they're going to be reset down to 0 as far as I'm concerned. And that is obviously very, very unfortunate because they are all in on this fight. They're using every ult, and I would assume Thimble is going to invest with his ultimate very shortly. But on the other side here, Yelk, Thatchman is going to have his window, which with no shield and just a defense matrix, it looks like they could maybe hold it off.
Yeah, they do have some chances here on this defense to come out and really make a change, especially with NATO being stuck in spawn. The front line isn't going to be as strong, so even though North Alabama does have a pretty good advantage going into these final 10 meters, they are Valking. They have a window up, but they won't have a Reinhardt. So if Arcadia can navigate around that, they can get back in here and set up a hold with about 2.5 minutes, and that should give them some time to set up Shatter, but still doesn't look like they have a lot in their alt economy to go from there. It's going to be pretty tough. Arcadia looked like they had to win this map. I mean, to go on in this series, to come back from match point, to keep it close at 2-2, 3-1 is when it starts to get fairly in North Alabama's favor to finish off the series.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, normally that would spell a loss, of course, but not here. We do play to first of 4, best of 7 series. And that's why we do best of 7, because if you do go down 3-1, you still have all the chances to attempt to swing it back in your favor. And Arcadia has shown that they can compete with this North Alabama team. It's not like they're just getting completely outclassed. Maybe you could argue that Li Jiang was a bit one-sided, and so was Temple of Anubis. But this map does not seem nearly as one-sided, and obviously Arcadia picked up a map already, so I think Arcadia has some wiggle room, especially when they have the map pick. So we're just going to have to see what happens once we get our tank back here. It's been a great main tank battle, like you said earlier, and it's been going back and forth on this map like none other.
Yeah, NATO was playing with a ton of confidence. Hopefully nothing like that changes. Tiger gives us some word that he is coming back shortly, so hopefully we only have to be in this pause for a few more seconds here. It seems like North Alabama, they are really sitting on pretty much everything they need to close out this round, but they won't get to take advantage of these ultimates yet unless they risk fighting without their main tank. If they choose to get them back, they can set up something with Thimble as well, but if you are just in the shoes of North Alabama and you're thinking, do we take the fight without a main tank with the Valk and the window, or do we just wait for NATO to get back and then go at them?
It's a tough call because you're up. I don't remember exactly who's down. It seems like it's going to just be Proton as of right now, which is big because you don't have anything to eat up this window right now from Bananarama, but you could still definitely push back with that shield. Maybe you can get past this window, and if you put up a window of your own, it could prove to be very strong because all they have right now is Squib. This looks very promising for North Alabama because it looks like all the respawns have come online. Right now, I can see May way off into the bottom right as of right now, so she's going to be a bit separated, but there's this core 4 going up against a core 5-ish, but no main tank on them, so it's gotta be dicey here, Yelk. I'm not sure how many times I can really say how dicey this fight is gonna end up being because we're just kind of waiting like everybody else.
Like they've got the advantage. We are just kind of waiting. We are just kind of stalling because, yeah, there's a disconnect. We got to get him back. Tiger said he'd be back soon, and I think they just rejoined the game. NATO back in the mix. Finally, lockdown Reinhardt, pinned back to point. And let's keep this game going. North Alabama, even though that kind of takes some wind out of their sails, they are pressuring the match point here. And that's no easy task. They've beat this team 2 times in previous faceoffs, but doing it in a best of 7 series is a totally different story.
Yeah, absolutely. No team is used to this long of a time, but either way, last fight is broken out here, Yelk.
Finally underway. Thimble setting up early on an off angle and throwing the Dragon Strike through. That's going to be enough to split off Arcadia University, but it's looking like Kojo and Pluto are coming out with some thunder. Pluto is going to be able to find Thimble before going down. Squib, though, tearing through Arcadia University. It seems like North Alabama will finish off this map unless some serious work is done. In the final hour by Latrick, the Diva Bomb gets thrown in from Squib, taking down Crusher 99, and just the last contest from Pluto. Then coming through Barrage, comboed on top of that, but it's not going to be enough. The defenders still just losing HP every second. Doomfist gets back out in the mix, but unless he finds a pick, this one is over. Crusher 99 certainly not going to find a kill out there on Lucio. And that is Rialto finished off with a score of 3-2 for North Alabama. And the match score is one better than that, 3-1, as we will move into our maps where Arcadia is playing with their back against the wall.
Back is up against the wall. Proton going to be finding a little play of the game. Oh, we get to see the Remec up close and personal. He does it way back here and finds the Reaper. I thought he walked into him. Either way, finds that kill. Fantastic to get a little extra value out of that Diva ultimate. Hopefully they can find a little extra value going into this next map here, Yelk.
Hopefully they can, but I mean, I love to see just the remake kills we've gotten since this patch has come out. It's been fantastic. So we're going to be going back to our panel, I believe, just for a little bit, and then we're going to see you on Control for map 5. Don't go anywhere.
Alrighty, taking map number 4 there was North Alabama, and a little bit of an issue at the end there with a blue screen computer, but coming back from that pause, North Alabama cleared it out. So now 3-1 going into map number 5. Jacob, is that all the momentum they need? Do you think the mental's just broken on the side of Arcadia?
I don't know if it's broken, and I wouldn't write them off just yet. But I do think that North Alabama has obviously acquitted themselves nicely. It's impressive by them when you have a late change like this, and obviously it was within 24 hours. You had to wonder how it would affect them. Obviously, Arcadia sort of playing with house money, sort of happy to be here situation, and they have nothing to lose, right? And on the flip side, North Alabama, sort of all the pressure's on them as the higher seed, the team that was ready to be here, team that was preparing, and now they have to sort of flip the script a little bit. So kudos to them. They were the better side those last two, and now they're obviously just one away from an NECC title, and I know that they're excited about that.
Yeah, no, this fifth map is going to be interesting. I believe the fifth map is a North Alabama map choice. And so far, on their maps, North Alabama has looked absolutely tremendous.
So, how was your day? Let's break it down here. How was your day? How was my day?
Oh, sorry, yeah, I thought we were still talking about Overwatch. Well, I had an early start this morning. Got home at about 5 a.m. Got home at about 5 a.m. after talking with Caleb till about 5 a.m. about the end of the season and the fall coming up here. Went to bed.
We go off the air? Didn't we go off the air about 5 a.m.?
No, we went. Okay, Central Time. The real time zone.
Oh, sorry.
We ended at 4 a.m. Central. I got home about 5 a.m. Central.
Nobody listens to Central Time Zone. We established this, didn't we?
I thought we established that it was bigger than you thought, Jacob. Anyway, you're right. So then I went home, hugged my dog, took him out, fed him, gave him some water. Delightful. Yeah, I went to bed, and then 4 hours later, I woke up to come to my day job.
Same.
Then may or may not have zombied my way through my day job today.
Nice.
And no, I got work done.
Nice.
Important. We got commencement coming up, so I had to work on some commencement stuff.
Okay.
And, because I'm on the commencement team. I run our production for commencement. And then at about 3 o'clock Central Time today, the internet on Upper Iowa campus went out. And so that's about an hour and a half before production started here. And so I'm like, so Caleb, our internet went out. So, you might have to find somebody else as good looking, as intelligent, and as witty as me to jump in next to Jacob. But luckily, we got the internet back 5 minutes before we started. What about you, Jacob? How was your day today?
Very similar. Similar time frame. Went to bed as my son was waking up, which was a rather unique experience here at the household. But good deal. Sort of waved and they crossed paths. Jim, I don't know if you know this, but today is my birthday. As a matter of fact.
You mentioned something yesterday about it.
Well, it might have been at that point. It might have been, who knows?
No, it was yesterday. It was definitely yesterday. But I was gonna wait till the end. I was gonna wait till the end of tonight, and I was gonna be like, Twitch chat, for everybody still here, can we get a happy birthday in chat for Jacob Van Ryn? So since Jacob brought it up, Twitch chat, can we get a happy birthday, Jacob, in Twitch chat?
Not necessarily.
Give it to me.
As you know very well, when you get to be as old as we are, birthdays don't quite have the same level of enthusiasm.
There's always enthusiasm for birthdays, Jacob, especially when you can embarrass somebody else on theirs. That's when we always have the biggest excitement for birthdays, is when you can embarrass someone else. Our producer in our ear saying we're ready for map number 5, though. You don't want to miss it. North Alabama trying to close it out. They're on match point. Neely, Yelkrip, have the call.
All right, well, we've got control for map 5, chat. In fact, we're going to be going over to Busan. Neely, what does Arcadia have to do to get back into the swing of things, get back into that mode where they were able to win a map? Because on control last time, it was 2-0, and it was decisive for North Alabama.
It was rather decisive, but I think maybe they outpicked themselves. They might have been a bit jittery, as I said. This is the finals, as I've keyed into many a time, but Mecha Base should be looking really good for Arcadia. They stick to that May pick. They like the May McCree, and I think if you go to Mecha Base, there's no reason not to see that. The one thing that we have seen from North Alabama is that they do run the Zarya, and Zarya does look good on a map like Mecha Base, so it might still look good for North Alabama on a map like that, because the other two, you can easily run Pharah, and Pharah has been a thorn, an absolute thorn in Arcadia's side all night. They were able to deal with it on Blizzard World, but otherwise it's kind of been the go-to pick, is to go Pharah and kind of put Arcadia on the back foot.
And maybe they're picking this so they can set up Pluto on the May pick. We know how Mecha Base can really favor the May. All of those doorways are just tailor-made for the May wall. But you're right, May is not the proper answer to Afara, so when the maps do open up, how do you answer Ironcrad? They have got the Diva, they've got a hit scan for the most part, but still, it seems like he's just able to do too much from up in the skies.
Yeah, Ironcrad does my favorite thing that a lot of Faras do. Sometimes they poke from afar and they use that cover, but there's been many a time we've seen Ironcrad absolutely Goomba stomping on the enemy's head, just going right in, taking the duels up front, close and personal, and just trying to DPS diff at a certain point. That is what Ironcrad's been trying to do all night. Thimble right by his side has just been trying to get the job done, but Thimble on the last map on that Reaper looked exceptionally good, finding a lot of good blossoms and just playing an all-around good secondary supportive DPS style to kind of let Ironcrad take his angles and do what he wants to do best.
Yeah, Thimble was coming in with an ultimate, that Death Blossom, like you said, that can really just put a stop to everything. Once Arcadia had some momentum going, Thimble would do that right in the middle of 4 of them, and at the very least, you have to press pause, and then you're vulnerable to the rest of North Alabama that isn't Thimble. But still, that Reaper pick seems like it's getting very mixed up in the middle of these fights, especially after Squib goes in with a slam, or Ironcrad comes in with a boot if he's on Pharah. How do you feel about Pluto on this Tracer? Oh, sat down by Ironcrad. I don't even have to ask you anymore, Neely. Don't even tell me. We already know that Ironcrad is lights out.
Yeah, I don't even have to tell you about the Tracer pick, because Ironcrad on this Ashe looking just as good. He's looking like one of those exceptionally flexible players, kind of looking a little bit like Goblin from Boise, just playing all the different characters and just being the flex god of this team, playing hit scan, playing projectile, getting it done as much as he can.
Yeah, and to their credit as well, Squib seems to tempo that play on a Wrecking Ball precisely with Thimble going in on his engagements. Once everything is knocked up in the air by Squib, which also gets him tons of alt charge, we can see them leading the lead in alt charge in this game so far. Everything was really kind of dazed and confused on the side of Arcadia. Do you focus Squib or do you focus the thing that was just shooting at you? A lot of the time it's Thimble, very too close for comfort in on Reaper. Squib throws that Wrecking Ball mine in behind Arcadia, and NATO goes for a very brave and brazen play. But the Immortality Field is going to counter anything he tried to do. Latrick also had a stun ready. No kill was found right there. Somehow NATO able to get out alive with help from Bananarama.
I love how they're playing this so far. Both teams, you put them the big ult behind them, they can't push back, and they're just trapped in that room. Huge slam onto Crusher 99. Latrick's gonna get shut down. Slam finds a few on both sides. Pins flying all over the place. NATO getting the pick onto Thatchman, and maintaining this point is gonna be North Alabama.
And now they're coming up on some very dangerous ultimates. Those support ultimates, along with the Reaper Death Blossom, are probably the most important for this composition. Tiger putting a nano on the Thimble without a nano makes him practically unkillable. That self-heal that Reaper gets means he can just close right up to Kojo and not be afraid of anything. But now the Baptiste window from Bananarama is going to power up North Alabama as they look for some sightlines in on Arcadia. None coming immediately. Kojo circling around. Pulse Bomb sticked onto Ironcrad, and the carry DPS taken care of. Tiger fearing for their life, backed down by the Reinhardt Kojo, but he will fall to NATO. Fever Bomb coming through now for an attempt at a remake, but NATO's going to be there to make sure that Proton is not around for the remake.
Not around for the remake, but they're looking like point one on Busan is going to close out here. Just as decisive as last time, and this is exactly how North Alabama wants it, Yelk.
Yeah, Control 2-0 went their way last time, and that is a swift 100-0. It does seem like Arcadia was putting a lot of stock into Mecha Base by picking Busan. They love to have Pluto on that Mei, one of Mei's best points in all of Overwatch, but they found themselves, unluckily, on the 2 points on Busan that are not Mecha Base. And on these open maps, we have just seen North Alabama shine bright all night long.
Ironcrad's going to be moving away from the Ash pick, though. Going to be going over to the McCree, a bit more stable of a character. And a funny comp right now coming out from Arcadia. We have seen it maybe a little bit, maybe more with the Wrecking Ball would be more preferable from Kojo, but he's going to go for the Winston dive to try to assist Pluto in the backline, and then Proton is going to be on to Sigma, so tanks switching up everything right now.
If Proton is careful, they can use that shield to keep the backline and the front line safe at the same time. Have a stun to answer Thimble if he starts to get a little too hectic out there. And then Kojo, like you said, trying to mix it up in P4 with Pluto. But this is a composition that can brawl up front for some time, going in with the Winston bubble and setting up around Proton shield. But Thatchman goes down. Ironcrad up in the front line right behind the Reinhardt, able to find that sight line onto the Brig and land the fatal shot. Thimble steps right into Proton, and it's going to have to be a reset here from Arcadia. Neely, can this comp work, or do you think Thimble on his own does enough to answer the Winston?
Well, the thing is sometimes Reapers go for these big flanks, but Thimble hasn't been doing that at all once. He's on his Reinhardt consistently, always. So if you're going to try to run a Winston, it just doesn't seem like the pick. You can't dive the backline. They both just turn around and they put you away. Kojo even played it exceptionally well. We were luckily able to spectate him, and he played his corners well, but Reaper just does so much. He can't get the value he's looking for, poking away in this front line. It's 3-1 here, Yelk. It could get closed out right here for North Alabama.
Thimble does go down early, though, and that's going to buy a lot of room for Kojo, but I'm interested in what Pluto can do with this pulse bomb. It stuck one before the nano boost goes on to the monkey. Kojo looking to get loose in the zoo here, finds Bananarama, but Ironcrad sits down up there with the high noon. Does a 180 and takes down Kojo as well, but Latrick up on this high ground by the drum. High noon's down to Squib, lands the headshot onto Thimble, but can't win the duel as NATO comes up clutch with an Earth Shatter. And with 65% and upticking, North Alabama get aggressive again toward the spawns of Arcadia, taking down Proton and holding still.
And Kojo's gonna have this primal rage though. I've talked about how Monkey might have a bit of trouble going into this comp, but now he's gonna have a second life and a second go at it, maybe able to displace this brawl. They're not gonna have an off tank to kind of deal with him. Squib is on that wrecking ball. Squib is gonna use that all. He's gonna split Latrick up and find Kojo. No fight right there. 90% ticking over, and this is gonna be so hard to recontest.
What a fantastic wrecking ball mine. It makes the last fight so much easier than it was supposed to be, and Thatchman tries to get to the point, but taken down by Ironcrad. Overtime beginning to tick away, and North Alabama, your 2 seed in the playoffs, look to have done it. Kojo back in the action here, primal raging as just a latch-ditch effort, but Thimble with the alt charge takes care of the Arcadia main take, and that is North Alabama winning our first final of the night in a 4-1 fashion, despite Arcadia putting up one hell of a fight.
Yeah, one hell of a fight indeed there, Yelk. Ironcrad putting up one of the best fights all night, consistent on every single map. I think it seems fit that he gets play of the game. We got to see it once, you'll see it again. Finds 2 with the high noon, spins around, and takes out the Nano Monkey like it's nothing.
Yeah, that headshot through the window, even onto a nano-boosted Winston, does so much damage. Neely, I gotta say, I put a plus sign right next to Ironcrad's name after the first map because they just seem to make the most impact on Li Zhang, and they really did not disappoint me at any point tonight. Did you have a different player of the match in mind or someone you wish to mention?
I can't imagine that I really do. The whole team played so well, but when you look for somebody that was flexible, changed up their play style, and adapted to be able to put away this Arcadia team, it was always Ironcrad. NATO put up a great fight, and Tiger really showed up on Temple of Anubis. But through all of the maps, all 5 maps, Ironcrad was by far and away the best player in the 12-man lobby.
I would have to agree. Squib made a name for themselves out there for sure. Being on a wrecking ball pretty much seemed unkillable, except on some dives that were very feedish. But that wrecking ball mine, you could see it get value every time they used it. Certainly had that composition down, but I think it all does kind of come back to the flexibility of play we saw in Ironcrad that just enabled this team to play whatever they wanted alongside him.
Yeah. And I think Squib is, again, you know, that's the thing with any finals winning team is that they won the finals. They were the best team. They have the best players, so to speak. At least that's the way you can draw it up. So Squib, a great nod again as somebody that played so well. Nobody really gets away with Wrecking Ball anymore in a lot of these divisions, and Squib's doing it right down here in the Emergence division. Doing a great job farming those ults so quickly and not being afraid to just press that button and put them out there and to try to split up a team. And he does a great job. But again, I think Ironcrad is going to have to be our MVP of the finals game.
And we should be going to an interview in just a few moments with someone from University of North Alabama. So don't go anywhere for that chat.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 Classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
You know, Twitch chat, I have no idea why my producer talks to me right when he's sending me in, because all he does is piss me off right before sending me in to the post game right here.
With the language.
However, with that being said, North Alabama 4-1, taking the control map very impressively. But that's what they did on map 1. North Alabama came out on map 1, took the control map, said no, we did control map. That's what we're gonna do. Came out map 5 with a 3-1 lead, said no, we love control map. That's what we're gonna do. Just a little bit of deja vu there, as there was 2-0 on the control map. Jacob, what did you? I mean, we saw them just taking it handedly, but what specifically did you see that you liked there on map number 5?
Yeah, I thought they just took control, and I think what I liked about it is the fact that when you have a chance to finish a team off, you want to get that job done, right? Don't give them any momentum. Don't allow them to prolong further. And I do want to say this before we talk. We're going to bring in the North Alabama team here and congratulate them and talk to those guys for a bit. But I want to say thank you to Arcadia. Very short notice, they were able to come forward and compete. Obviously made a great run in the semifinals and were able to advance to the finals. So kudos to them, their crew and their players. We thank them for that and definitely appreciate them being available. But this night is about North Alabama, as they are the champion.
Yes, it is. And as our producer Caleb brings him in here, I would like to apologize to Caleb. I love Caleb. Nothing but love for Caleb. Does a great job on our production. But it looks like all members of North Alabama are here. And I would like to start by saying congratulations, guys.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. It was a really good game. Really good game.
All right, I wanna start. You know, what most people consider the bottom. I'm going to start with the two support players, Tiger and Bananarama. You guys played a great game, kept everybody up, kept everybody doing their jobs. Just talk about being in the back line on that one.
So I'll tell a quote that I tell NATO all the time, since he's our Reinhardt. I always have a spoon ready, and it's like a train, you know, when you're getting like a baby. So I'm really spoon feeding them there when I'm keeping them alive, to be quite frank with you.
Okay.
So you're telling me that NATO just needs to give you a spoon at the end of the night, like when he graduates, he just needs to hand you a spoon.
Yeah, I'm carrying him. Is the bottom line?
Essentially, I can agree with that. Yeah.
I love groups like this that are so uncomfortable in this situation. Some people, it's like, oh, we don't really want to do this. This is not the case with this group, and I like it.
No, toxic all the time.
Moving right there, moving right to tanks. Then I'll go right there. NATO, Squib, do you guys have anything to say about your supports calling you out, saying they're spoon feeding you the game?
They're not wrong.
I mean,
at least for me. I mean,
we carry, so.
Look, Squib goes in there, plays ball, and just gets like a 4K with mines or something like that. I just hold right click and get spoon fed, and then occasionally hit a shatter, whatever. I don't know.
Let's be fair. The Reinhardt, the Hammond, were both on point today. Did you guys play anybody else? I was trying to pay attention, but I'm trying to moderate Twitch chat too, and there's some jokes.
I spent some time on the Hammond, Diva, Zarya, and Orisa actually.
Fair. So I missed a lot then. Apparently.
I'm kind of hard stuck on.
NATO's the Reinhardt.
Yeah.
I knew that. That one I knew. And it was good Ryan. The announcers were talking about the Ryan was super good today. It's always nice to see. I need a Ryan main for my team, so
Whoa.
Hey, wait a minute.
Slow down a little bit.
With all respect, I need you to step off my man.
hey. But then, and ending it out here, Thimble Ironcrad, you guys doing damage today. A lot of damage came out, and the play of the game on map 5, Ironcrad got the double there. I think he turned around later on that map and got another double as well. With the high noon. Just going ahead to you two and talk about just throwing damage when you've got all that great support and all that good tank in front of you.
Yeah, one thing that I will tell you, going in, especially, I guess I'm talking about the Temple of Anubis map that we played on. We were just pretty confused. 2CP is definitely not one of our favorite things to play on salt maps. And that is something, the Sim Bastion, which I know a lot of people probably didn't like in the chat. We were talking about it. We practiced as a meme for a little while, and Sam Ironcrad, actually called it out and was like, hey, let's just run it. Like, let's just go for it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it worked really well for us. I don't know what I would do without my other DPS duo. We did really good. Tanks were doing really great, and I'm really proud of my team overall as an entirety for this entire season. It's a great way to end the season.
Yeah, and I will say personally, it's really nice having Zane be on heals with me and Pierce too. It's mostly Zane's the guy that I interact with since I play Genji or Pharah, and he's on a Mercy vein. Well, he plays on and Mercy for us and stuff, so but they're both just great. It's nice actually being able to get healed when you're doing stuff. It makes your job a lot easier. Like that Bastion comp was great, but we can't act like not running a Mercy and still getting out healed on Bastion is insane. Like is just, kudos to them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys played a great match, and I believe Mr. Van Ryn over there has something for y'all.
Gentlemen, this is heading down to you. Championship trophy. We'll get to the shirts. Let's go. To the headsets. Congratulations on any title here in the spring. Outstanding work. Well deserved. We thank you for your understanding, your flexibility, and getting the job done tonight. It was awesome to watch. Congratulations on the win.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, and that will set us up to go into match 2, Boise State and UC Santa Cruz. One of my favorite schools, just because the mascot, the UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. Just a fun one to say. It's one that a lot of people don't know. That one will be cast by Unicorn and Scott. Me and Scott are having a bit of a beef on Twitch, so he can give you his caster name. I'm going to call him Scott. But that's coming up right now. You don't want to miss it. That's going to be a fun one, and me and Jacob are going to be back to talk about it after map number 2.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NECC. You just got to watch a nice spectacle of a final, but we've got another one coming at you here real soon. Boise State Blue versus the UC Santa Cruz for this Gladiators Division matchup. My name is Infernosis, joined here by the wonderful Unicorn, and I'm really excited to see what this match will have in store for us.
Infernosis, as am I. It's good to see you back after a week of not being here. Man, have I missed casting next to you and for the NECC, and we're back at it again, Infernosis. Bar the white vans this time. Boise State Blue, undefeated. And if anyone can take them down, you've got to assume it's going to be Santa Cruz. UCSC has done their best throughout this to secure that second spot, and they've done so pretty dominantly. But no one throughout this Gladiators division has been as dominant as Boise State. I'm not sure where we go from here. I'm not sure what a team can do to take down Guac and the crew behind him, escorting him around on that Reinhardt. But I'm terrified for anyone who has to play against him.
Absolutely. It's going to be a phenomenal match to behold. I believe we're actually starting on Lijiang Tower, so an interesting way to start off for Control for this final section. It's really going to come down to the brawl. I had a bit of a conversation with the Boise State side. They feel exceptionally comfortable at making space and really separating themselves if they are giving themselves an extension, say for a map like Kings Row, which could or could not be played, but Streets phase where you need to make space, they feel comfortable making that space, but Control is a different game. Control, you've got to play onto the objective, you've got to play that point, you've got to stick to the objective pretty tightly and contest it. So it's really going to come down to who has the better brawl. Double bubble can sometimes work out for Control, but typically your go-to lineup for this massive meta we've got going on today is going to be that standardized brawl comp. A Lucio, we may even see a Symmetra to teleport quickly to the objective. We know that that's pretty popular for Lijiang Tower. I'm expecting a lot of McCree's today. Of course, McCree has been a powerhouse when it comes to DPS inside of Overwatch recently. There's a lot we're going to be able to have brought to the table, and it's just a matter of time until we're ready to get into it.
Well, think about it like this, Infernosis. With Control, it relies so heavily on mechanical skill. There's no other game type in Overwatch where you can essentially get a free team fight. You get to present yourself to the team, and you don't have to worry about so much of that space making like Boise State is so good at. So for the side of UCSC, mostly every 30 seconds or so, they're going to get a free shot at the point, right? That's where the brawl is going to happen. When you jump into Escort, when you jump into 2CP, things like that, teams have to make their way to the objective, but on Control, a lot of times that's where the fight happens. So if you can get in that brawl type situation and you can take that first control for the side of UCSC, maybe it's a good look at it. But when you think about good looks at it, I mean, Boise State has dropped a total of 2 maps, I think. Let me look here. A total of, it looks like 1 map from what I'm seeing from our notes. So it's gonna be difficult to do. No, I do know Midland took them down in semifinals, so make it 2 maps.
Oh, you did know that?
Yeah. So, however, it definitely wasn't production in my ear, but 2 maps in total, right? So if you're gonna do it, it's gonna be hard work. You're gonna get a free shot at the point with Control. Lijiang Tower, difficult to make space on unless you're talking about Control Center. Everything else is pretty much gonna be holding an initial choke, and then once you're done with that, you're right there. Take it Night Market, Gardens. Control Center has a lot farther to get to the point, but if you're Boise State, that space making is going to be your best bet on a difficult map to do it like Lijiang. We'll have to see if they have the capability. They've proven that they have, else they wouldn't be here. But if you're UCSC, how do you go about a control map and go about taking it to Boise when they're so predominant, so absolutely overwhelming with that brawl style?
I mean, I'm not too sure, in all honesty. This is a pretty scary matchup to behold, having to face off against Boise right now. They are uncontested for a reason. They've been playing exceptionally well. UCSC has definitely earned their right to be here, and I'm not sure if you know this because you're a little less connected to some of the other tertiary games here inside of the NECC, but it's been Underdog City throughout all of this finals and playoff season. It's been underdogs consistently, David and Goliath stories, and I think most of them have unfortunately been felt in the finals despite having made it all the way there, but they went and they put up fights. We saw 2 best of 5s last night in Valorant. We saw a best of 5 that everyone had anticipated just to go to 3 and be a blowout, because not only had the team never lost a single map, They had just completely devastatingly one-sidedly assaulted that team before, and they lost the first 2 maps and had to do a reverse sweep to bring it back around. This final season right now for the NECC is one to remember, and we may be able to see UCSC surmount that as well, but they're going to have to do what I don't believe any other underdog has been able to do so far and actually pull off and complete the upset.
And I think if they're doing it against any team, Boise State's going to be the most difficult. When you talk about that best of 7, technically UCSC has a longer time to read their opponent than anyone has with Boise State. They get 4 goes at it, right? They get to go 4 games, and maybe where other teams would have been 3-0'd, they get that extra map to read Boise State, decipher what's going on, and see if they can create any sort of counters, whether that's stopping Bagel from escorting Guac around, whether it's stopping Guac, stopping some of the star DPS that we've seen from Boise State as well. They have the extra map to once again kind of discern where to go next. Is that going to be enough to take them down? I'm not sure that extra map does that, but at least gets them a read, and maybe we see the reverse sweep from there. Right now, I'm confident in Boise State's ability. I know they're confident as well, but seeing UCSC previously, seeing the way they performed, underdog or not, they're a fantastic team, and I believe that anyone, they've proven here in finals that they're going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. By all accounts, you're going to have to worry about EMF. You're going to have to worry about Moises. I mean, there's so much you have to worry about. That front line and support combination. I mean, Moses is just impossible to deal with. They do such a good job. We've seen them on Zenyatta a few times. They play exceptionally well, whether it be a Baptiste with the Immortality Fields, whether it be whatever they want to bring to the table as their support. They play it spectacularly, and they punish teams for not targeting them, and they punish teams for targeting them as well. They'll overextend trying to get that frag, trying to find that pick to initiate into a team fight, and then the side of UC Santa Cruz just collapses inward. They just say, hey, you'll extend for that. We'll let the other support handle it for just a second to be able to tank that up and soak up and heal up the damage being dealt out, and then we'll dish out the damage back in return. And it's very difficult to face off against that, and Santa Cruz has done a phenomenal job of being able to turn forward. Their front lines are monsters by all accounts. I mean, Enigma is an Enigma. I know, I actually believe it was you and I that casted a Santa Cruz game at the beginning. We made so many jokes about Enigma just being an Enigma, because that's really what it is. There's so much potential. There's so much talent for the Santa Cruz side. If there's one team I'm expecting to be able to pull this off against Boise State, it's going to be them, but they're going to have their work cut out for them. We're heading into Lijiang Tower, and I got to get a little bit of an insight from this Boise State squad. Lijiang Tower, they have a phenomenal win rate on. They feel very comfortable going into this one. I think, and I may have this slightly incorrect, I'll recheck the note. They've got a massive fight win rate on this map. It's above 80% for each engagement. They have a massive consistency when it comes to winning this.
And I think you and I kind of talked about it previously before the actual stream started on our end. I mean, if you're talking about being so prepared that you can present casters with a fight percentage win rate, that's got to be terrifying for anyone you're coming up against, right? I mean, if mechanical skill on both sides is perfectly even, then the preparation is going to be the difference maker. Does UCSC have any sort of fight win rate percentage? Do they have a coach who's breaking down the actual numbers of team fights won over lost, the time spent during those team fights, the sort of space made, contracting or condensing those into numbers, and then being able to present them to casters just so they have more notes? I mean, that's impressive just by itself. Then you take the mechanical skill that Boise State Blue has. You think of Plato absolutely popping off in these hit scans. I believe Yelkin Neely mentioned it. Ironcrad looking like a baby Plato of sorts with the way he was popping off on that Ash. Then you talk about Guac, mentioned Bagel escorting him around so often. It's a very, very tall drink of water, Infernosis, to take down this Boise State team. And that amount of preparation just sort of speaks by itself so highly of them.
Absolutely, and I got to have an extended conversation with that Boise State director and have the conversation brought forward after they lovingly sent the notes forward to assist us and getting an insight into their side. But we had talked a little bit, and I brought this up as well as we had discussed before the stream started, was that any team that goes for that preparation and does that extra mile, they're statistically more likely to win because they're going that extra step.
It's automatically an advantage.
Yeah. I cast a plethora of levels of play, different levels of play. I see players in R6 that are in T3, T4 levels that could be T2. I mean, some could even dare stretch to T1 and be pro. It's just they're under a team, they're under an org that doesn't have those dedicated individuals to go through and find these. And they're not just being dedicated to scouting out and VOD reviewing your opponent, they're VOD reviewing themselves as well and finding their own stats about it, finding their own comfort levels, finding their own win rates, information, opening picks, fight win rates, and especially in Overwatch. I mean,
extremely important as well is when you talk about that VOD review, like you mentioned, when you do a self VOD review, that macro level of coaching is just as important as the micro level. You can talk about a rotation, you can talk about where we should be on Junkertown, Lijiang Tower, whatever it may be, but if I'm on an Ashe and I need to look to you, Infernosis, and say, I know my team should be rotating here. Exactly what am I looking at when I rotate as the Ashe? Am I looking for a backline pick? Am I just getting a fat dynamite here? Am I saving Coach Gun for a potential dive onto me so that my front line can peel? Just those tidbits of knowledge that you can gain from a coach, from a director like you mentioned. That's what can so often be the difference maker, and that's what is so appealing about those VOD reviews on a micro level as well as a macro level. Having the team play is fantastic. Knowing specifically what your role is within that transition, within that rotation, and within that composition is what wins games. If you can, speaking of shout outs here, watching a Jane video, he mentions I can't write a script for you, right? I can only give you the cues, and you have to act on them themselves. You have to act on them yourself, and I think that's what's so important in these games that you look out for.
Yeah, I think there's going to be maybe some questions that need to be answered, and that's kind of a phrase I've been using so much during the playoffs, because when you lose a first engagement, or maybe you lose a first or even a second map, wherever you want to start it off with, you kind of have to bring the question forward. Is the problem relying on us individually, or is it as a team? What is the puzzle pieces that we're not putting together to complete this puzzle and bring it to a conclusion? And I think Boise has managed to complete their puzzles quite well. They have done a phenomenal job of connecting themselves in a more static way. They're able to complete puzzles. They're able to complete all of their strategies, their routes, their play styles to a T. And Santa Cruz has another level of difficulty that they just don't have an answer to. I think Santa Cruz has made their way through this. They've shown spectacular performance, but they're going to be facing a powerhouse they've already lost to before, and they lost to in a pretty, I guess, fashion. I mean, it was a loss to say the least. So it kind of bears the question when you get taken out in an 0-3 scoreline. How much VOD review do you do on just that game, and how much VOD review do you go into Boise State's side, into their VODs individually, into the matches streamed at NECC or wherever it is? How much effort are you going through? Because I know if I was in Santa Cruz, I would not stop for probably a week and a half to 2 weeks,
Right.
even before I know I'm going into the finals.
Yeah, I mean, you're busting your butt to find those answers. And to harp on what you said earlier, I think that's an important statement, is after you lose a team fight, you have to ask yourself, well, what's next? And I think that's what's so impressive about Boise, is that they know the answer to those questions before they step foot into the game. Before they enter the series, they know, well, if if Santa Cruz is running, a Sim Torb or a Sim Bastion combo, for example, something crazy, right? They immediately know the answer to that before